Chapter 592. When the secret door opened again, Yu Yong walked out slowly. Princess Sisai and Shui Wuxiao welcomed him and hugged him tightly. This battle was very difficult, and the process was very dangerous. If they had made even a slight mistake, they would have fallen into a perilous situation. Luckily, with Empress Jellyfish's strategy and Yu Yang's strategy, the two generations of wisdom combined, and they managed to turn the tide of the battle. Although Thousand Goblin King was killed, the enemies were not completely wiped out. The ancient Demon King's soul carrier did not appear and was still hiding in the dark. As for the Scarlet Emperor and Scarlet Concubine, if not for Jizun and Night Empress, they would have already killed their way into the secret door. The last villain, the Black Hell King, fought with Sky Execution in the Soaring Dragon Continent. It was because the Dragon Emperor, the Emperor of the Underworld, and Sky Execution had joined hands to defeat the Black Hell King, forcing the Black Hell King to be powerless to cause trouble in the Soaring Dragon Continent. This allowed Yu Yong to fight Thousand Goblin King without any worries. He only needed to focus on fighting, which was why he could successfully kill the cunning Thousand Goblin King. How did you guys catch Prince of Zijin? Yu Yong looked at the head in Yi Kong's hand. It was one of Thousand Goblin King's doppelgangers, Prince of Zijin. We didn't go to catch him. We only want to tell the heavenly imperial guardians of Zijin. Although Zijin Kingdom is hostile towards us, they can't protect us from this. The two heavenly imperial guardians should have heard about the matter of Prince of Zijin becoming a Thousand Goblin King's clone. When we arrived at the Innate Alliance, they seemed to already know why we were there. They left and discussed for an hour. In the end, they handed him over to Yi Kong and Fatty Hai. They then escorted him here and executed him according to your plan. Princess Qian explained the whole process briefly. There are actually conditions to capture Prince of Zijin. Within 10 years, we cannot invade Zijin Kingdom under any pretext. Of course, they cannot send troops to attack us. For the previous invasion, they will compensate us according to our losses. Shui Wuxia's jade-like face was as cold as ice. She snorted and said, "They're just trying to stall for time." "That's right. If you didn't tell us to keep the big one alive, we would have killed the small one as well." Princess Sisai nodded. Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others were very curious. They wanted to know who the other doppelganger was. Was it the junior sect leader, Bai Yunfei, who had a good relationship with the Prince of Zijin? Or was it someone else? For example, the war maniac of Zijin Kingdom, Chu Tianshao, who kept a low profile and loved battles as if they were his life. Or could it be the Marquis of Zijin, who was the strongest in the kingdom of Zijin and had a close relationship with the Demon Abyss? Even Yu Yang's uncle, Yu Shan, was suspected by Yi Kong and the others. This was because Yu Shan's usual actions were too suspicious. The problem was, if Yu Shan was really one of the Thousand Goblin King's clones, how could Yu Yong not know? Prince of Zijin was definitely not the Thousand Goblin King's clone in the past. It was only because of Yu Yang's rise to power that Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others improved, that he felt hopeless. In the end, he fell under the temptation of Thousand Goblin King's power. It was a pity that the Prince of Zijin, who could create the divine deer, chasing arrow, and the desert sandstorm, 8 scimitar skills, had lost his original heart, because he was too eager for success and pursued greater power. The most tragic thing was that the Prince of Zijin had become Zijin Kingdom's sacrificial pawn. Yi Kong sighed in his heart. Sometimes, life was like standing at a crossroad. On one side was the peak of one's life, and on the other was the cliff of death. If he went in the wrong direction, then it was very likely that he would make a huge mistake and lose all his reputation and be consigned to eternal damnation. Don't worry. That guy should be looking for Thousand Goblin King's demon heart. We'll wait for him to find the demon heart. Then we'll finish him off once and for all. Thousand Goblin King's original body is already dead. What's a doppelganger? Actually, the reason why we could kill Thousand Goblin King was because Ancient Demon King secretly added fuel to the fire. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been so easy to kill Thousand Goblin King. Yu Yong waved his hands, signaling the two girls not to care about Thousand Goblin King's doppelganger anymore. Because the real scary thing was the ancient demon king, whose identity they still didn't know. Ancient demon king secretly helped us. Maybe he was carrying out some plan, like a resurrection plan. Shui Wuxia immediately thought of the reason. Yes, Thousand Goblin King's existence might be a hindrance to Ancient Demon King's resurrection plan. That's why he borrowed our hands to kill Thousand Goblin King. Maybe that's the case. Ancient Demon King didn't believe that we could kill Thousand Goblin King at the start, so he purposely set up a few obvious clues. This was because he was afraid that we weren't strong enough and couldn't defeat Thousand Goblin King. He had exposed a lot of things. With Ancient Demon King's intelligence, he shouldn't have done that. He must have thought that we and Thousand Goblin King would both suffer heavy losses. He miscalculated this time. Princess Sisai was also a smart girl. Even if she didn't guess everything, it should be close to the truth. We have Ancient Demon King's perfect body in our hands. How could Ancient Demon King not take action? Fatty Hai laughed loudly. Do you really think that I really obtained Ancient Demon King's perfect body? Yu Yang denied it. Ancient Demon King's crystal coffin is still inside. Yi Kong was also stunned. Actually, there's nothing inside the Vault of Stars seal. Yu Yang looked at Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and Shui Tanlang. He shook his head and said, "At that time, I admitted that I obtained Ancient Demon King's crystal coffin. That was purposely deceiving Thousand Goblin King. If I didn't say that, he would have run away long ago. Why would he fight me to the death? It's empty inside." Shui Wuxia and Princess Sisai couldn't believe it, because Yu Yang didn't tell them the truth. It's empty. There's not even a fake crystal coffin. Yu Yang nodded. What? The ones who couldn't believe it the most were Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jiasuo, who had guarded it for 6,000 years. They almost fainted. 6,000 years of guarding was actually wasted. No one could take such a blow. That year, Prison Emperor should have realized that Ancient Demon King's soul had escaped. He left Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jiasuo to guard it. This was also to deceive Ancient Demon King, because Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jiasuo were the two people that Prison Emperor trusted the most. Since they were guarding it, it must be the most important thing. I didn't expect that they were guarding a trap. Hai Yingwu had her mother's intelligence. She understood immediately. The real sealed area should be in another place. A place that Ancient Demon King would never think of. We have been deceived. Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jiasuo wanted to hug each other and cry bitterly. After 6,000 years of guarding, it would be fine if there was Ancient Demon King's crystal coffin inside. At least they would have some credit. But now there was nothing inside. They had wasted 6,000 years of their time. It really made them sigh endlessly. Yu Yang looked at Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jiasuo and suddenly shouted, Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jiasuo, listen to my order. When Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jiasuo heard this, they looked at each other. What was this brat trying to say? With the Prison Emperor's order, stand up. Yu Yang shouted again. When Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jiasuo heard the Prison Emperor's order, they immediately stood up and looked at Yu Yang. They still didn't understand what Yu Yang was trying to do. Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jiasuo, in view of your loyalty and dedication for 6,000 years, I, Yu Yang, in the name of the new Prison Emperor, hereby bestow the two of you the title of Heavenly Guardian General of Tong Tian Tower. Feng Zhu will be the left Heavenly General, and Bei Feng Jiasuo will be the right Heavenly General. The warriors of Tong Tian Tower will be worshipped and worshipped for generations. Those who disobey will be punished with the Prison Emperor's order. Yu Yang's serious expression suddenly relaxed under everyone's silent gaze. He nodded towards Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jiasuo, who were still in a daze. This is your last Prison Emperor's order. Your guarding mission is over. You have worked hard. Is it really over? Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jiasuo suppressed the excitement and surprise in their hearts and asked again to confirm. Yes, your mission is over. Yu Yang bowed deeply to them to show his respect. Shui Wuxia and Princess Sisai also stood behind Yu Yang and bowed. Then it was Elder Ningong, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, Shui Tanlang, Prince of Tian Luo, Li Brothers, Hai Yingwu, Bloody Queen Red, Hornless Dragon Jiangying. Everyone bowed deeply to show their respect. These two rankers who had guarded the Sky Dome Star Seal for 6,000 years were the most respectable seniors. Elder Xingpan from the Sea Clan had already brought the Ocean Knights and the Clown Fishmen to kneel down. They prostrated themselves in worship. Even the Abyss Manatees that were captured by Yu Yang as slave beasts also bowed to Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jia, because compared to them, their previous loyalty and perseverance were not even worth mentioning. Only rankers like Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jia were truly trustworthy people. The two Abyss Manatees originally had some resentment in their hearts. They felt that if it wasn't for Yu Yang's threat, they wouldn't have become slave beasts. Now, they suddenly understood one thing. To be respected, it wasn't just about status, it was about faith. Anyone who had Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jiasua's unwavering faith for 6,000 years would be worshipped by everyone. After Yi Kong and Fatty Hai bowed, they looked at each other tacitly. They saw a kind of determination in each other's eyes. A kind of determination to learn from Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jia. The previous prison emperor had trustworthy friends like Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jia. Who would the new prison emperor have? Yi Kong and Fatty Hai stepped forward without hesitation. They also knew that they would never be prison emperor material, but they could be like Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jia. That was their goal. Thank you. Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jia revealed a relieved smile and respectfully bowed to Yu Yang. No, thank you. Yu Yang bowed to them for the second time. This time, he did it as a junior and not as the new prison emperor. Time passes so quickly. In a flash, 6,000 years have passed. Feng Zhu sighed. Now we can rest, but we don't know where to go. We have been separated from the outside world for too long. We are a little afraid of meeting strangers. Zhuzi, do you want to come to Heaven Realm to play? Seeing that we have been friends for thousands of years, I will be your tour guide for free. Bei Feng Jia suddenly wanted to go back to Heaven Realm to have a look. Introduce a girl to me, your big brother. Otherwise, I will not accompany you to Heaven Realm. Feng Zhu hugged Bei Feng Jiasua's shoulder. Damn, who is the big brother? You have to call me big brother. I am older than you. Bei Feng Jiasua was angry. You're the big brother just because you're older? To be a big brother, you had to talk about strength. I'm stronger than you. Feng Zhu expressed that he was slightly stronger. Then let's compete. Bei Feng Jiasua was not convinced at all. Let's compete? Who's afraid of who? The two old fellows who had lived for thousands of years but still looked like young boys walked out noisily with their arms around each other's shoulders. Their figures gradually became further and further away. Shuitan Lang looked at Yi Kong and Fatty Hai and nodded silently. He felt that these two were really similar to the two old fellows just now, just that their strength was a little lacking. Seeing that everyone was still there, Yi Yang waved his hand and said, "Go, go, go. The battle is over. Those of you who have girls, go after them. Those who don't, go train. I want to rest. Don't stay here and hinder my happy life." When Fatty Hai heard this, he immediately cried out, Hey, you can't be. How can you be so disloyal? We fought so hard to win. Why don't you introduce us to a Sea Clan beauty? Chasing us away just like that. You want to monopolize all the beauties? No way. You must give us a Sea Clan beauty today. Otherwise, we will not leave. Yi Yang did not even look at him. Then you stay. I will give you an octopus girl with 8 arms. In the future, you can give birth to a baby octopus. 8 arms? Then forget it. Fatty Hai felt that human beauties were better. An 8-armed beauty was a little sweaty. Furthermore, with so many arms, would it suffocate people if they hugged each other? This was also a problem. TSK. Yi Kong already knew that Fatty Hai was lecherous but had no guts. He gave him a protruding hand gesture in disdain. Chapter 593. Everyone paid their respects to Yu Yang and left quietly, including Elder Nangong. He nodded towards Yu Yang and smiled. Then he walked away with a peace of mind. It was the first time in his life that he felt so comfortable. Seeing Yu Yang gradually grow into the new prison emperor, he, compared to Feng Zhu and Bei Feng Jia, belonged to another type of Tong Tian Tower Guardian who never rests. Seeing Yu Yang stand out and achieve great things, he naturally felt very comforted. It's still early. I will tell him all the secrets when he becomes stronger. Elder Nangong turned around and looked at Yu Yang, who was hugging Princess Sisai and Shui Wuxia. He nodded secretly. Elder Xingpan, Countess Jiawei, Countess Yin, and the Ocean Knights all knelt on the ground. They first paid their respects to Yu Yang, then to Hai Yingwu. Then they walked away step by step. They had already accepted the fact that Hai Yingwu was the new Ocean Empress. Of course, before that, they knew that behind this new Ocean Empress, there was still a new prison emperor. With him and her, the Sea Clan would rise again, just like what Empress Jellyfish had envisioned. As subordinates, they only needed to do their part. There was no need to do more. Yu Yang felt tired and couldn't wait to return to the grimoire world to rest. Before Princess Sisai returned, she said to Hai Yingwu, who was looking forward to it, "Come, I don't care if you're here." Hai Yingwu was overjoyed when she heard this. She looked at Shui Wuxian nervously. She knew that among Yu Yang's wives, City Mistress Fallen Flowers, Princess Sisai, and Shui Wuxian were the main wives who had the right to speak. Sickly Beauty was gentle and had a good temper, and Anne was still young. As for Sky Law, the new Supreme Elder, she didn't care about anyone else. If Shui Wuxia did not agree, Hai Yingwu would not dare to enter the grimoire world. She knew that Shui Wuxia was the most important person in his heart. Even Princess Sisai and Castellan Fallen Flowers were slightly inferior to her. Shui Wuxia looked at Hai Yingwu and did not say anything. "Thank you, madams." Hai Yingwu was a smart girl. She knew that silence meant silent consent, so she was so excited that she almost jumped up. She hurriedly expressed her stance to Princess Sisai and Shui Wuxia that she did not dare to ask for the title of wife. Instead, she lowered her stance and admitted that she was a slave like the half-elf girl. Moreover, in Hai Yingwu's heart, being the Ocean Empress was not as good as being Yu Yang's maid. Look at how happy the half-elf girl's life was. Every day, she would either draw for him, design clothes for him, or cook for him. They had also met in the Tong Tian Tower, but the half-elf girl with a childish face and big breasts had already successfully integrated into his life. As for herself, she still needed to be acknowledged. This was the difference in status. Entering the grimoire world. This was Hai Yingwu's first time entering Yu Yang's grimoire world. She was amazed at the beauty of this grimoire world, and at the same time, surprised at the buildings here. With her eyesight, she could tell that these were all built by people bit by bit. It was extremely thoughtful. Every building or area was designed by different people. Some were simple, some were gorgeous, some were exquisite, some were unadorned. Not only his wife, but also his spiritual beasts had built comfortable residences here. Hai Yingwu naturally wanted to join this place and become a member. Not only today, she had been longing for this for a long time. "Sister Hai Yingwu is here. I'm so happy." The first one to rush out to welcome Hai Yingwu was the half-elf girl. Although she did not have any fighting power, Yu Yang often needed to borrow some of the half-elf girl's special abilities, such as scent recognition, inherent skill, and mind's eye. The half-elf girl's usefulness to Yu Yang was no less than Lu Ye's perforate deer and cleansing inherent skill. It was just that the half-elf girl was not good at fighting. She could only assist Yu Yang during normal times. Hai Yingwu was so touched that she hugged the cute half-elf girl. "Call me Aquamarine. My mother gave me a name. Although no one knows, my real name is Aquamarine. Hai Yingwu is just a code name for the Sea Clan. Here, you can call me Aquamarine." The half-elf girl nodded seriously, indicating that she remembered it. Suddenly, she thought of something. Flustered, she pulled up the front of her maid's skirt and tried to run faster. At the same time, she shouted cutely, "Oh no, I forgot to prepare some mouthwash for Master. Master can't drink the washing water as mouthwash." Just as she ran up the stairs, her footsteps were too fast, and she almost tripped over the doorsill. Luckily, Yu Yang reached out his hand to support her and comforted her with a smile. "Don't worry, I won't drink it. You better prepare a cup of water for me. I'm really thirsty." The half-elf girl's face turned red with embarrassment, and she quickly ran to the kitchen. That was her little world. Other than Yu and Sickly Beauty, who would occasionally go there, no one else would visit. City Mistress Fallen Flowers, Princess Sisai, and Impatience were all waiting for food. Hai Yingwu quickly chased after the half-elf girl and prepared some food and drinks for Yu Yang. In the Thunder Fortress, Hai Yingwu had never displayed her culinary skills before, but in fact she was very good at it. When she was a few years old, her mother, who disguised herself as a female slave, Empress Jellyfish, who never heard her daughter call her mother, even on her deathbed, had taught her. As a woman, if you want to win a man's heart, you must satisfy his appetite. Inside the room, Yu Yang stripped Princess Sisai naked and used his innate qi to heal her wounds. Shui Wuxia acted as if she did not see anything as she skillfully cleaned Yu Yang's body and bandaged his wounds. Other than cooperating with Yu Yang's healing, Princess Sisai also helped Shui Wuxia a little. For example, after bandaging his wounds, she would help tie a cute bow. The three of them cooperated like one person. In the beginning, they might be a little shy, but after so many battles, the three of them threw away all distracting thoughts and only wanted to use the best method to heal each other's wounds as fast as possible. Moreover, there were no outsiders in the grimoire world. They could do whatever they wanted without any worries. Hai Yingwu held the piping hot food in her hands and stood in front of the door in a daze. She was not 100% integrated yet and did not know what to do. She also did not know if it was right for her to intervene. The half-elf girl was different. She did not hesitate and quickly went forward. While Yu Yang was healing Shui Wuxia's internal injuries, she immediately took over the task of cleaning and bandaging Shui Wuxia's wounds, allowing the exhausted Princess Sisai to sit down and rest. Hai Yingwu saw this, and a soft light appeared in her eyes. She seemed to have understood something. Rest for 3 days. 10th floor of Tong Tian Tower, Boundless Ocean, Meteor Shower Islands. Today, the Sea Clan's turmoil had ended and a new female Ocean Empress had arrived. With the support of the 2 Abyss Manatees, Elder Nangong of the Innate Alliance and Emperor of the Underworld as witnesses, Hai Yingwu, formerly known as Aquamarine, was officially crowned as the Ocean Empress. Yu Yang did not participate in the entire crowning process. He only stood at a distance and quietly watched her become the Ocean Empress. Actually, everyone understood that the reason why the new female Ocean Empress could be born so smoothly was mostly because of Yu Clan's 3rd young master. The other half was because of the new Ocean Empress mother, Empress Jellyfish. For her daughter and the Sea Clan's revival, she had planned for 1,000 years and did not hesitate to pay with her life. After the blessings of the foreign envoys and the worship of the subjects, the entire Sea Clan was in a state of celebration. The female Ocean Empress had ascended the throne, and the revival was in sight. Shark King, Elder Xingpan, Countess Jiawei, and Countess Yin brought their subordinates and retreated like a tide. In the entire Meteor Shower Palace, only Yu Yang and Hai Yingwu were left. Hai Yingwu, who was sitting on the throne solemnly, stood up and let go of the Ocean Emperor's halberd in her hands. She ran towards Yu Yang. She threw herself into his embrace with tears streaming down her face. Compared to the throne of the Ocean Emperor, she would rather stay in his embrace. However, it was her mother's last wish and the Sea Clan's hope. She had no choice but to stand up and become the new female Ocean Empress, leading the entire clan to prosperity. Of course, this was also beneficial to Yu Yang. Since he was the new prison emperor, he needed more people to help him defend Tong Tian Tower. Sit here. Hai Yingwu brought Yu Yang to the Ocean Emperor's throne and let him sit down. She then respectfully knelt in front of him, pulled his big hands, and kissed his fingers. That day, you said that you would make me the new female Ocean Empress. You did it. It was you who gave me everything I have today. You heard my cries, pitted my desire, and fulfilled my wish. You gave me these things that I yearned for even in my dreams. Do you still remember? That day, I also promised you that I would use everything to repay you. With my love, with my people, with my abilities, with my wisdom, with my loyalty, with my everything. Are you sure? It's impossible for me to stay here and accompany you every day. Yu Yang stretched out his hand and gently held her little chin, gently wiping the hot tears that flowed down her cheeks. I would rather stay in the grimoire world and serve you every day. The Ocean Empress is not what I desire. If not because I can help you as the Ocean Empress, I would not even be interested in this position. Hai Yingwu choked and shook her head. This is not what I want the most. What I want the most is to stay in that warm grimoire world and quietly wait for you to come back. In the matter before, Yu Yang remembered that he had pretended to be a wretched butler to tease her. Now that she saw the hornless dragon Jiang Ying, she would definitely understand what was going on. I was indeed very angry at that time, but when I knew it was you, I felt that it was very funny. Thinking about it, it was really strange. Maybe that was fate. Because of that experience, our lives became one, and we walked together. Although it was a little strange, we had a unique experience. That memory is worth remembering for the rest of my life. As Hai Yingwu spoke, she took off the Ocean Emperor armor on her body, followed by her silk undergarments. One by one, she took them off, revealing her breathtaking perfect figure. This is your Ocean Emperor throne. Yu Yang's heartbeat quickened. He felt the excitement of having an affair. His impulse was burning, but he was a little afraid that others would come in and see. In the grimoire world, everyone is here. Aquamarine is a little embarrassed. This meteor shower palace, this Ocean Emperor palace, this throne belongs to us. Let Aquamarine dedicate everything to you here. Although this is the first time, Aquamarine had peeked at the mistress's techniques many times before. If I am not satisfied, please correct me at any time, okay? Aquamarine will definitely work hard. My lover, I want to give you the best things because I like you so much. Hai Yingwu's eyes gradually became misty. Like wine, intoxicating. She resisted the shyness in her heart, bravely reached out and gently untied her lover's clothes. Since she loved him so much, she would dedicate everything to him. As a woman, this was the first step. She had to learn it and master it in the future, so that her man would be satisfied, so that he would feel happy and happy. Happiness could not only be bestowed by the heavens, it also required one's own hard work. Chapter 594. Yu Clan Castle. Yu came back to visit her father as usual. Although there were servants taking good care of him, Yu still insisted on using her own beast to treat her father's injuries. Cough, cough. Yushan's illness was recurring, sometimes good, sometimes bad. There was a period of time when he could wake up and take a walk by himself, as if he could immediately recover. Who knew that in just a few days, Yushan's injuries worsened again. He was bedridden and his consciousness was hazy. He couldn't even recognize the servants beside him. He could only barely recognize his daughter and father, looking as if his life was in danger. Yu really couldn't understand. Why was it like this? With her current healing ability, she could heal any injury, no matter how serious it was. Why did her father's injuries become so serious? What exactly caused it? Yu wanted to wait for Yu Yang to come back and ask him to take a look. He would definitely be able to find out the real cause. You're here? Sit. Yushan rarely chatted with Yu. He would only nod his head when he saw his daughter and almost never speak. Today, he seemed to be in good spirits and wanted to chat with his daughter. Sit. It's nothing. There's no need for treatment. I know my body well. I won't die for now, and I won't be able to recover either. How's brother Xiao San? Did he win? Yes. Yu nodded. Usually, her father rarely cared about Yu Yang's matters. What happened today? She sat in front of the bed in astonishment. She gestured for the servants to open the window and pour water for her father. Xiao San is still in the 10th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Hai Yingwu will be crowned the new female Ocean Empress. He has to stay and watch the ceremony. That little girl seems to be very weak. Will she be able to become the new female Ocean Empress? Yushan had heard Yu mention Hai Yingwu before, but he didn't have a deep impression of her. It's like this, her biological mother is actually Empress Jellyfish. Yu told him about Empress Jellyfish's 1,000-year plan. After Yushan heard it, he thought for a long time before nodding his head and praising. What a good Empress Jellyfish. It's a pity that she's a girl, otherwise she would be better than Ocean Emperor Guanlon. Although there were many capable people in Tong Tian Tower, there were very few people like Empress Jellyfish. The Thousand Goblin King was dead, the Black Hell King was heavily injured, and the Scarlet Emperor had escaped to the Heaven Realm. Tong Tian Tower should welcome a period of slow development. I have a question that I've wanted to ask you for a long time. Have you ever thought about your future? What future? Yu felt strange. Did she still need to worry? Now that the Yu clan had risen to power and was famous in the whole Tong Tian Tower, he would not be bullied by others anymore. Moreover, he did not have any thoughts of fighting to win. He only wanted to live a peaceful life. Yushan was silent for a while, then suddenly opened his mouth and said, you should think about it. You can't do without someone to take care of you in the future. Yu was startled. Could it be that her father saw through her thoughts? Was it really that obvious? She was a little hesitant and a little negative. So you're talking about this. Ever since the Shui family broke off the engagement, your daughter's heart has calmed down. I don't want to think about those things for now. There are many single female warriors in this world, like Jizun, Night Empress, Sky Law, Sky Disaster, and many more. They all cultivate alone in order to pursue the highest level of martial arts. Yushan shook his head lightly. Your character is weak, kind, and gentle. You're not the kind of person who can completely pursue the highest level of martial arts. That kind of loneliness is not something a normal person can bear. If I'm not here in the future, your grandfather and uncles will all be gone, and your brothers and sisters of the same generation will all have their own families. You will be the only one left. That will be very miserable. If there is someone to take care of you, then even if I'm gone, you will be at ease. Yu hurriedly waved her hands. Why are you talking about this? With Xiao San around, everyone can at least live for 1,000 years. Don't worry about life and death. Even if everyone has their own families, I am still a member of the Yu clan. Even if it's inconvenient to stay in other houses, I can still stay with Xiao San. Qin Xian and Fallen Flowers are very good to me. Don't worry about things like my old age. It's all too far away. Rest well and don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. After 2 days, when Xiao San comes back, he and I will come over to take a look at you. Maybe you will get better immediately. A bitter smile appeared in Yushan's eyes. It seemed like he wanted to say no, but he was unwilling to brush off his daughter's thoughts, so he kept his mouth shut. When Yu stood up and was about to leave, he called her softly. Wait. ? Yu immediately turned around. What else did her father want to say? Do you still have the golden rune lock plate that your mother left for you? Yushan asked. Yes, do you want to see it? Yu had worn a small and exquisite golden rune lock plate ever since she was young. Originally, this was something she used to pray for blessings when she was young. Because her mother had passed away early, she had always worn it as a memento. When Yushan asked today, Yu thought that her father was thinking of her mother and wanted to see it to remember her. No, you keep it and keep it well. Yushan waved his hand. He paused for a while and said, Actually, this golden rune lock plate comes in a pair. The other one, Yu saw that Yushan seemed to be hiding something and couldn't help but be astonished. Could it be that this golden rune lock plate had some secret? This is a pair. There is another one. It should be with your twin sister. Yushan's words shocked Yu. Didn't my mother only give birth to me as a daughter? Yu cried out involuntarily. Actually, it's like this. That year on the battlefield, your mother and I, along with 2 other comrades, were surrounded and trapped in a cave when we fought against the invasion of the Demon Abyss. Your mother's pregnancy was affected, and she was forced to give birth to you and your sister in the cave. The miracle was that when you guys appeared, the entire battlefield was enveloped in a kind of pure brilliance. All the demon soldiers were greatly weakened, and even the demon commanders and demon generals who were surrounding you quickly retreated from the battlefield. It was also because of this that your mother and I were able to carry you and escape. Yushan explained. What about my sister? Yu asked impatiently. She remembered that since she was young, no one had ever mentioned to her that she had a sister. Sister, because we were in danger at that time, 2 of our comrades carried your sister and escaped in another direction. After that, the war gradually calmed down after a few months. Your mother and I wanted to go back to look for her, but we couldn't find your sister anymore. The 2 comrades at that time should not be around anymore, but your sister should still be around. This is because the golden rune lock plate that you have worn since you were young has never been broken. This proves that your sister is still alive. It's just that in the vast sea of people, we couldn't find her anymore. Yushan sighed slightly. I will definitely find my sister. Other than the same golden rune lock plate, what other characteristics does my sister have? Yu asked anxiously. Separated since young? I don't know either. Yushan paused and suddenly warned Yu. You heir, I have told you about your sister. Remember not to look for her in public, so that the enemy doesn't know about it in advance. If your sister is lucky, she will definitely return to the Yu clan. You don't have to worry too much about her. Understood, father. I will definitely look for her in secret. What are the names of your two comrades? Yu asked. I met them on a battlefield, but I didn't know their names at that time. Yushan lowered his head after he finished speaking. Yu was afraid that her father would be sad, so she did not ask further. However, she had some doubts in her heart. If they were comrades that he did not know on the battlefield, how could he trust them? Not only did they fight side by side, he even entrusted his sister to them. Could it be that the situation at that time was really that dangerous? Another doubt was that Yu knew that her father had been captured by the enemy before. He was even brought back to the demon abyss by the enemy. He was only able to return alive when a demon abyss countess rescued him. Could the two comrades that her father mentioned be the demon abyss countess? Because it was inconvenient to mention the name of the demon abyss countess, he used the excuse that he did not know her. Could it be that he really had a sister that he entrusted to the demon abyss countess? Could it be that her own sister was actually in the demon abyss? That was still not right. It would be fine if it was before, but now that San had risen to power, even the great demon King Baruth had to give him some face. If he really had a sister in the demon abyss, as long as Sin asked, why wouldn't the demon abyss return her sister? Could it be that there was some hidden story? The more Yu thought about it, the more confused she became. She was not careful and almost tripped on the doorstep. Fortunately, her reaction was fast, and she immediately adjusted herself. The fifth elder who happened to pass by was overjoyed. He said with a smile, Girl, what are you thinking about? Why are you so engrossed? Your brother San will return tomorrow. Don't worry about him. Yu quickly bowed and expressed that she was not worried about Yang. Just as the fifth elder was about to leave, she immediately remembered about her sister and asked, Fifth elder, when the demon abyss invaded, I was born in a bloody battlefield. Wasn't I born in the Yu clan castle? The white-haired fifth elder's beard trembled, and he completely denied. No, the one who was born in the battlefield was not you. When Yu heard this, she was immediately dumbfounded. The fifth elder seemed to know that he had made a slip of the tongue and hurriedly tried to salvage the situation. Girl, actually at that time, you were born in our Yu clan castle. But at that time, the Yu clan castle was a battlefield. The demon abyss invaded, and the battle was very intense. Did you hear some gossip from someone? That is not true. You were born in the Yu clan castle, so you are the Yu clan's second Mississippi. You are my obedient granddaughter. Who would dare to say that you are not? Girl, don't think too much. Don't listen to the rumors outside, and don't believe them. Remember, you will always be our Yu clan's granddaughter. When he said this, Yu was dumbfounded again. Her own background should have been very normal and ordinary. Why was it so mysterious? What exactly had happened that year that he had to hide it from her? Between her father and the fifth elder, who was the truth and who was the lie? Ah, thank you, fifth elder. I will go back now. Yu did not dare to ask again. Moreover, the fifth elder had already raised his vigilance, so it seemed that he would not say anything. Girl, don't think too much. Live a good life with Xiao San. We are old, and the Yu clan can only rely on you. Xiao San's temper is very stubborn. He only listens to us Xian and you. You have to take good care of him and not let him take the wrong path. His father is gone. Us old fellows are heartbroken. Fortunately, Xiao San is so capable. Otherwise, after we die, we would not have the face to meet our ancestors. The fifth elder was especially afraid that Yu would take things too hard. He warned her again and again. Girl, don't think too much. Don't pay attention to what outsiders say. You are you. No one can replace you. If anyone dares to bully you, come and find me. The fifth elder will stand up for you. If anyone dares to make irresponsible remarks, I will fight them with my old life. Oh, right. Your Xiao-san brother has a bad temper. Don't tell him what outsiders say. It's all nonsense. I know. Don't worry, fifth elder. I won't tell Xiao-san. The more you heard, the more frightened she became. She hurriedly said goodbye and left. Sigh. This child, her life is really bitter. The fifth elder looked at Yu Yu's receding figure and suddenly let out a long sigh. Chapter 595. Although Hai Yingwu could not bear to part with Yu Yang, she had to stay and rebuild the Sea clan. She would be very busy for a period of time in the future. With her father's power and holy ranked equipment, her mother's family and plans, as well as Yu Yang's support, Hai Yingwu's position as the Ocean Empress was much easier than expected. It turned out that she had already mentally prepared herself to face all the difficulties. However, the majority of the Sea clan had accepted her as the new Ocean Empress. Not only her, even the two abyss manatees that originally belonged to Yu Yang were worshipped by the Sea clan as the new Sea clan guardian gods. I will work hard. I will first be a competent Ocean Empress. When the matters in the clan settle down, I will then be a competent wife and serve you every day. Hai Yingwu cried as she kissed Yu Yang emotionally. Even if her subordinates were watching, she did not care about anything else. Cough, cough. Actually, Countess Jie Wei, Countess Yin, Elder Xing Pan, Shar King, and other Sea clan rankers already knew about her close relationship with Yu Yang. Even a blind person could see it, let alone those with good eyesight. They turned their heads away and pretended not to see Hai Yingwu kissing Yu Yang in public. Hai Yingwu and Yu Yang's union was actually the best outcome for the Sea clan. The Yu clan's third young master was definitely the best husband. Maybe it was not convenient for the Sea clan to announce this marriage to the public, but the union of the two of them, no matter if it was the soaring dragon continent in the first floor of Tong Tian Tower or the boundless ocean in the 10th floor of Tong Tian Tower, it would be a good thing. Two completely different camps, because of the marriage of the two most important people, would be firmly linked together and become the most trustworthy allies. The soaring dragon continent had the most talented people in the world and the most outstanding youth in the world, Yu clan's third young master. The Sea clan had the richest sea region, the widest territory, and the most suitable female Ocean Empress to marry Yu clan's third young master. A strong union was definitely the best development direction for Tong Tian Tower. After leaving the boundless ocean, Yu Yang returned to the Thunder Fortress in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. What welcomed him was a wave of congratulations. All the slaves, servants, and guards were proud of their master's miraculous performance. They had long known that Little Titan was the Yu clan's third young master. For example, the president of the Titan Chamber of Commerce, the fat toad Jiada, had become the most popular person in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Even innates would nod their heads in respect when they saw him. Those who had looked down on him in the past all came forward and apologized solemnly, afraid that this fat toad would hold a grudge. Of course, all his glory was because of Yu Yang's impressive performance. First, he came back from the death arena, killed his way to the Heaven Realm, defeated a Heaven ranker, and captured the Abyss Manatee that returned to the Heaven Realm. Following that, he was invited to the Endless Ocean to quell the rebellion of the Sea clan and helped Guan Lan's daughter, Hai Yingwu, ascend to the position of Ocean Empress. According to some rumors, the Yu clan's third young master had even killed the 1,000 Goblin King from 3,000 years ago. With such a strong performance, there was no one in Tong Tian Tower who wouldn't bow down to him. Hence, although the fat toad Jiada was only a servant of the Yu clan's third young master, he was still respected by everyone. Where's Xia Yi? Yu Yang realized that everything in the Thunder Fortress was normal except for Xia Yi, the girl who always wanted to fight with him. He immediately felt a little disappointed. Miss Xia Yi is still in the Gufeng continent. She sent a messenger a while ago, but the letter is still with the Xia brothers. The Xia brothers don't know that Master has returned, so they went to Silver Leaf City to sign the contract. They should be back soon. I'll go take a look. Jia wished he could grow wings and fly to Silver Leaf City to capture the Xiao brothers. The Xiao brothers didn't need to go on a business trip today, but Jia had something to do at the last minute. Hence, Butler Yin Zheng sent the Xiao brothers instead. Forget it. That should be a normal letter. Yu Yang waved his hand, indicating that there was no need to make such a big fuss. If Xia Yi was in danger, the Xiao brothers would definitely be worried. They still had the time to go to Silver Leaf City for a business trip, which meant that Xia Yi was still very safe. The Octopus Man Boss and the Swordfish Man Blast had returned long ago. To them, the boundless ocean was not as fun as the soaring dragon continent. After all, they were originally human innates. It was just that they had turned into fishmen. Deep down, they still liked to live on land. They didn't have a sense of belonging in the Sea Clan, but they had a good life in the Thunder Fortress. This was because the servants here respected them a lot, and they had protected this place before. After living here for a long time, they had developed feelings for this place. It could be considered as their second home. Another reason was that they were enemies with the Sea Clan. Although they had forgiven each other and turned enemies into friends, it was still a little awkward. You can go and do what you need to do. We old fellows have our own hands and feet. We can eat and drink. You don't have to care about us. In the future, when you establish a territory in the Heaven Realm, just invite us to stay there for a while. The Octopus Man Boss laughed. The most talkative mud skipper man Sui Zue wanted to say something, but the Swordfish Man Blast covered his mouth to prevent him from saying anything. This time, I'll treat you guys to the ancient demon's blood. Yu Yang threw a ruined silver bottle filled with ancient demon's blood to them. Mudskipper Sui Zue quickly got close and opened the bottle to take a look. The ancient demon's blood was as hot as magma, almost scalding his skin. He was so scared that he quickly sealed the bottle cap and shouted loudly. He hurriedly threw it to Swordfish Man Blastwind. Go and prepare some chilled strong wine. Without the strong wine to melt, you won't be able to drink it with your current strength. The Swordfish Man Blast kicked the Mudskipper Man's butt. Good stuff. Whale Zhang gave Yang a thumbs up happily. With their current strength, they would never be able to drink the ancient demon's blood in their lifetime. Now, even the fat Toe Jada was holding a cup of chilled blood wine in his hands. These servants who were below the innate realm did not dare to drink the blood wine of the hybrid fishmen. After pouring 10 barrels of wine into a pool, adding a large amount of ice cubes and a drop of ancient demon's blood, they felt like their bodies were about to explode when they drank it. It was as if they were swallowing fire. The fat toad Jada drank a small mouthful and immediately spat out a ball of fire from his throat. The expression on his face was one of satisfaction and fear at the same time. I spat out fire. Oh my God, I almost thought I was going to die. This is too scary, too scary. This is good stuff? How much are we going to sell it for? 50 gold coins for a cup? No, I won't sell it for less than 500 gold coins. The old-fashioned butler Yin Zheng couldn't help but smile. Yu Yang did not stay in the Thunder Fortress. Under the guidance of the Xiao brothers, he went to the Gufeng continent. Gufeng continent. This was a world similar to the soaring dragon continent. Humans were the main intelligent life forms, but there were a few goblins and half-beastmen. These were the descendants of the slaves brought by the Demon Abyss during the invasion. The intelligent life forms in the Demon Abyss were the rulers of this place. Usually, they were the kings of small countries or the lords of certain regions. Very few of them were human lords. The Demon Abyss priests were in charge of the Great Hall and teleportation circle at the exit. They didn't have a good attitude towards normal warriors. However, they didn't dare to neglect the 3 rankers who were at least level 7, especially Yu Yang, who was standing in the middle of the Xiao brothers. The Demon Abyss priests couldn't even peek at his level. In their eyes, Yu Yang was undoubtedly an innate ranker. Master, welcome to the Gufeng continent. The few Demon Abyss priests bowed to Yu Yang respectfully. Luckily, Yu Yang was wearing a mask. Otherwise, if they recognized him as the Yu clan's 3rd young master, they would probably be scared out of their wits. The Xiao brothers went back to their hometown to bring their mother and relatives to live in the Thunder Fortress. On the other hand, Yu Yang went to look for Xia Xia who was still secretly gathering information about the Black Hell Army. According to the contents of the letter, this girl had already found out all kinds of information about the Black Hell Army. For example, the location of the secret base of the Black Hell Army and the opening time of the ancient teleportation circle. She had already found out everything and completed her mission. However, she might have found out something very important. That was why she didn't return to the Thunder Fortress and continued to observe. Because he was worried that Miss Xia, who liked to quarrel with him, would be in danger, Yu Yang decided to come and fetch her personally. Information was important, but her life was more important. The Black Hell King was hiding in the dark. It must not be caught by him. Of course, the possibility of this happening was very small. The Black Hell King couldn't be bothered to make a move on Xia. If he wanted to catch someone, the Black Hell King should catch someone in the Yu clan castle. However, even if there was a 1 in 10,000 chance, Yu Yang wouldn't let it happen. Teleportation circle? Yu Yang followed the route that Xia left behind and rushed for half a day before he arrived at a teleportation circle that looked like it had been abandoned for a long time. This was one of the important marks in Xia Yi's letter. If it was someone else, they definitely wouldn't be able to find such a remote place. Even if they found this teleportation circle, they wouldn't care because it looked abandoned. However, with Yu Yang's Heaven Eyes divine vision, there was something wrong with this teleportation circle. Using Heaven Eyes divine vision, he could see through many situations. This teleportation circle had been used recently, and not just once. Where did it lead to? In the 4th floor of Tong Tian Tower, there was also a similar broken teleportation circle. That teleportation circle led to a mysterious world. In that place, there was a golden barrier that even Yu Yang couldn't enter. Inside the barrier, there was an ownerless divine grimoire. Could the teleportation circle in the Gufeng continent also lead to that mysterious world? Could there be a second divine grimoire? Or could this be one of the Black Hell King's secret bases? Or was it his last nest? There was another possibility, which was that it led to the outskirts of the god's ruins. Although Xia liked to be at odds with him, she received his orders and wouldn't act rashly. There must be a special reason for her to stay. Most importantly, he had a feeling that the ancient teleportation circles in the Gufeng continent, Ao, Jia continent, and other continents, especially this kind of long-abandoned teleportation circle, had some problems. Maybe it was something that the Black Hell King used. It was because of his suspicions that he sent Xia back to investigate. Now, it seemed that his guess was right. That damned thief, if I catch that cunning fellow, I will definitely skin him alive. He's really too despicable. He's like a ghost, constantly pestering me. If this goes on, I won't be able to find the treasure. I'm gonna fucking go crazy. In the canyon outside the teleportation circle, there was a group of warriors who were all level 4 heroes and above. They walked past the place where Yu Yang was hiding. In the group, there was a big guy with a fleshy face who was nagging nonstop along the way. Who doesn't like treasures? That fellow's level is high and his skills are fast. If we don't use some tricks, we might not be able to catch him. A black skinny man spat. After we catch him, that thief will belong to me. I can get a smaller share of the treasures, but that thief must belong to me, and it must be alive. What do you know, that's a girl. Although she's dressed like a thief, I can tell with one look that she's a beauty. That waist is so slender, those legs are so long. I can tell with one look that she's not a guy. A perverted fatty said, while drooling. That doesn't mean she's a beauty. We can't be sure without seeing her face. Another person retorted. All right, we're here. Lord Mo Long will be here soon. All of you shut up. Don't ever mention the thief in front of Lord Mo Long. Forget about that thief. No matter if he's a man or a woman, forget about him. You guys are here to search for treasures, not to pick up girls. Furthermore, that thief doesn't have the golden key to open the door, so he won't be able to follow us into the teleportation circle. Just ignore him. The leader was a tall and sturdy man. He carefully placed the gems in his bag into the corresponding area of the teleportation circle. The teleportation circle instantly flashed with a dazzling brilliance. What made Yu Yang even more surprised was that the brilliance actually formed a house of light. It was like a small fortress. In front of the house of light, There was a door of light formed by interweaving runes. Meow? What does this door lead to? Not to mention Xia Yi. Even Yu Yang's heart was itching. He couldn't wait to go in and take a look. Since he had seen a mountain of treasures, how could he return empty-handed? Chapter 596. Yu Yang waited for another 10 minutes before a level 1 innate demon abyss lord came. There were more than 30 of them, but the strongest was only in normal level 7. Now, Yu Yang understood why Xia Yi dared to follow this group of people. It was because she was confident that even if she could not defeat such an enemy, she could still escape. It's a little weird. Originally, Yu Yang wanted to kill everyone and snatch the golden key. Then, he would go in and search for the treasure himself. However, when he saw that the enemies were too weak, he couldn't help but feel a little strange. It didn't make sense. How could a person like Lord Mo Long hold such a crucial golden key? Even if he had it, without the support of an innate ranker, how could Lord Mo Long search for treasures? With those followers who were only level 7 and below? Isn't that too funny? Filled with doubt, Yu Yang waited quietly. Lord Mo Long was very cautious. Before he took out the golden key to open the secret door, he first sent people to investigate. If it was someone else, they would have been discovered long ago. But Yu Yang had secretly learned the invisibility secret technique from the super assassin in Shi. And Shi's invisibility was something that even the Ocean Emperor Guanlan couldn't see. Even if Yu Yang couldn't learn it completely, it was easy for him to hide from a group of non-innates. Not to mention these people, if Yu Yang wanted to hide, with the amplification effect of his counterfeit inherent skill, even a level 10 innate ranker might not be able to discover him. Yu Yang was actually hiding right under these people's eyes. They were less than 20 meters away, but they couldn't discover him. After searching for a while, Lord Mo Long finally took out the shining golden key. When the golden key came close to the secret door that was intertwined with runes, it immediately shot a golden arrow towards the sky. In the sky, there seemed to be some kind of energy faintly responding. And on the ground, the light formed into a miniature fortress. The mysterious rune light door in front of it silently opened. It revealed a simple and unadorned stone passage. It was extremely long, deep, and dark. At this moment, at the faraway entrance of the canyon, a shadow flashed extremely quickly. In just a few seconds, it arrived behind a rock 50 meters away from the entrance. Lord Mo Long seemed to sense it. He snorted heavily and waved his hand, ordering his subordinates to enter quickly. After everyone entered, Lord Mo Long took out the gold key. Before the secret door of radiance disappeared, it flew in like a bolt of lightning. When he stood on the stone passageway, he immediately stopped and turned around to look at the outside of the secret door, as if he wanted to give the enemy following him a fatal blow. The shadow hiding behind the rock did not move, as if it had never been there. When Lord Mo Long saw that no one was following him, he let out a sigh of relief. The secret door slowly closed and disappeared, leaving behind only the ancient teleportation array as if it had never been used before. The shadow stood up and stamped his foot unwillingly. A large black hand came from behind and grabbed the shadow's chest with the ferocity of a wolf. The shadow's body trembled slightly, as if it hadn't expected that someone would launch a sneak attack on it. However, its reaction was extremely fast. Within 0.1 seconds, it had already pulled out the silver dagger from its waist and stabbed the attacker behind it. "You want to murder your husband?" Yu Yang's figure appeared from behind. His whole body stuck to the shadow's back, one hand hugging the shadow's chest, the other hand grabbing the small hand that was stabbing back with the dagger. The shadow's body trembled again. She turned her head in astonishment. It was Xia Yi, who was still in shock. When she saw that it was Yu Yang, she was immediately surprised, happy, angry, shy, and anxious. She struggled and said, "It's you? Let go of me." Yu Yang pretended to be an obedient child and let go of the small hand below, ignoring the dagger in her hand. "I'm talking about the top." Xia Yi was furious. What kind of person was this?" Cough, cough. "Actually, this is the custom of my hometown. I will only use it when I give my best friend a surprise. Little girl Xia Yi, this young master has come from afar to see you. Aren't you surprised? Yu Yang reluctantly let go of her hand. Under Xia Yi's angry glare, he even secretly sniffed his palm. This almost made Xia Yi explode in anger. It's my hometown's custom. When I see someone I haven't seen for a long time, I will beat him up to express my surprise. Xia Yi really wanted to bite this brat to death. Is that so? Your hometown's custom is not as good as mine. Actually, my hometown has a custom of hugging when you meet someone. If you don't mind, I can demonstrate it. This is all knowledge. You should learn it. Yu Yang prepared to give Xia Yi a hug. Scram, stay away from me. Xia Yi used the dagger to threaten him, not letting him come closer. She was really afraid that he would give her a hug, and she was even more afraid that her heart would soften. Little girl, you've lost weight. Yu Yang pretended to be concerned about her as he reached out to touch Xia Yi's face. Don't worry about it. Xia Yi originally felt warm in her heart. She felt that after suffering so much, it was worth it to hear his words. However, when she saw that this brat was only using this as an excuse to touch her, she immediately became angry. He was really too much. He even wanted to lie to someone he cared about. Could it be that other than perverted thoughts, there was nothing else in his mind? Then forget it. I originally wanted to give you a set of clothes. Yu Yang muttered with a wronged expression. Give it to me. Xia Yi's heart immediately softened. It was already good that he remembered to give her a present. She was most afraid that he would completely forget about her. I specially designed it. Take a look, do you like it? Yu Yang took out a set of underwear. It was lace, transparent, as thin as a cicada's wings. It felt extremely smooth to the touch. It was probably the same as wearing nothing. Xia Yi held the set of clothes. She was fuming. She wanted to chase after him, but she couldn't. She wanted to hit him, but she couldn't. She was even more furious. This brat was definitely trying to anger her on purpose. He probably wanted to come here to see her cry. So, she definitely couldn't cry. Xia Yi bit her lips and sniffled. She held back the tears that were about to fall. She decided that no matter what, she wouldn't let him see her weakness. She kept the transparent underwear and pretended that nothing had happened. Young master, why didn't you tease the big-breasted maid at home? Why did you come here? All right, you idiot, why didn't you rush in just now? You just watched them go in. Why didn't you rush in? There might be treasures inside. You are so stupid. Yu Yang hurriedly explained. Wasn't I waiting for you? You didn't rush in, so of course I had to stay behind to accompany you. Xia Yi immediately knew that it was an excuse. She went crazy. You stayed behind just to attack my breasts, right? Cough, cough. I am an upright gentleman, a role model for the youths in the soaring dragon continent. I'm also the pioneer of the new generation of social change. How could I do such a shameless thing? You have wronged me. Yu Yang clenched his fist and said seriously. Xia Yi almost fainted. Heavens, was there anyone more shameless than this brat in this world? How does it feel? Xia Yi suddenly asked Yu Yang. It's not good. Yu Yang shook his head. It's not good? Xia Yi exploded on the spot. She was like a kitten whose tail had been stepped on. I'll let you touch it, and you still say it's not good? I didn't feel it clearly. Yu Yang hurriedly explained. You touched it for so long. You still didn't feel it clearly? Xia Yi looked at him with disdain. It's too small. I searched for a long time, but I still couldn't find it. Before Yu Yang could finish his sentence, he was sent flying by the furious Xia Yi with a punch. Xia Yi, who was seething with anger, completely went berserk. She took out a giant axe and chased after Yu Yang. Go to hell. I will immediately send you to hell, you shameless bastard. Half an hour later, when Yu Yang opened the secret light door and entered the stone passage, Xia Yi gave him a heavy punch on his back, her hatred still lingering in her heart. Yu Yang hurriedly reminded her, Hey, you said to stop fighting. Didn't you say to search for treasures first, then flirt, no, split the spoils later? Xia Yi, you can't be too petty. You must be broad-minded. Xia Yi wanted to forgive him, but when she heard him being broad-minded, she couldn't help but burst out in anger. I'm petty. I'm not broad-minded. Find a broad-minded cow to accompany you to search for treasures. I'm not going to serve a young master like you. Let go of me, let go. Her arm was pulled by Yu Yang. She tried to struggle, but when she saw that she couldn't break free, she stopped struggling. Actually, she didn't want to leave, she was just angry. She felt that this brat didn't take care of her heart at all. He knew that her chest wasn't big enough, but he kept mentioning it. How could she not be angry? Yu Yang chuckled. There are all kinds of flavors. You can't just eat coconuts every day. You should eat eggs occasionally. You can't be too picky. Xia rolled her eyes when she heard this. She reckoned that among all the men in the world, only this Yu clan's third young master could say such things. She had seen too many shameless people, but no matter how shameless they were compared to this young master, they were simply modest gentlemen. They couldn't be compared at all. Xia firmly refuted Yu Yang's shameless words just now. She coldly snorted. What eggs? Who's an egg? I'm at least an apple, and a big apple at that. Go against your conscience, I'll agree with you. Before Yu Yang could finish, Xia took out her giant axe again. Say it again. Xia raised her giant axe high, hovering above Yu Yang's nose. All right, you're an apple, apple computer, apple daily newspaper. Yu Yang replied with a trembling voice. Although Xia couldn't tell what apple computer and apple daily newspaper were, she was sure that they weren't good terms. He was definitely referring to her flat chest. Originally, Xia wanted to chop this despicable fellow to death with her axe. However, she suddenly changed her mind. She threw the axe away. Yu Yang was startled. Not good, this girl was going to cry. Just as he was thinking of how to comfort her, he suddenly saw Xia take off her black clothes and her leather vest, revealing her jade-white body that was only wearing underwear. In an instant, the delicate fragrance of a virgin assailed his nostrils. Seeing her flawless naked body, Yu Yang's jaw dropped to the ground. He stared at her dumbfoundedly, wondering if this girl had gone mad with anger. Did she want to push him down? Xia gently pulled up Yu Yang's right hand and pressed it on her breasts. Meow. Yu Yang was completely shocked. Was this a dream or reality? Did she get the wrong person? Currently, only Sky Law could do this kind of action. Is it an apple or an egg? Xia asked calmly. Apple. Yu Yang replied subconsciously. Thank you. You can go and die now. Xia sent the stunned Yu Yang flying with a kick. Then, she calmly put on her leather vest and black thief clothes. This is not a dream. Yu Yang, who was lying on the ground, sniffed his palm and suddenly jumped up. Under Xia Yi's astonished gaze, he held her hand tightly. Hello, beautiful. I am Yu Yang, known as the Yu clan's third young master. I live in the Yu clan castle in the soaring dragon continent. I am young and rich, handsome and talented, loyal to one person. I have a good personality and a good temper. I'm really a good friend. Before he could finish his sentence, Xia sent him flying with a punch. Chapter 597. Stone Passage. The stone passage behind the secret door was definitely not Gufeng continent. Even Yu Yang, who was here for the first time, could tell. Although the gravity was similar to Gufeng continent, the entire stone passage had a formless power of the ancient law, as if it was sealing something. Yu Yang felt this power when he was in the Dragon Cave, where the Scarlet Emperor was sealed. What comforted Yu Yang was that the ancient law sealing power here was not as strong as the ancient seal that sealed the Scarlet Emperor. Otherwise, if there was another enemy like the Scarlet Emperor, Yu Yang would feel dizzy. It was not easy to kill 1,000 Goblin King. Yu Yang wanted to rest for a while. Training hard, converting the accumulated experience from battles, breaking through to a new realm. Yu Yang would definitely not be satisfied with his innate level 8 power. Although he could fight against heaven-ranked warriors, there were still stronger enemies like the Scarlet Emperor. Yu Yang did not dare to slack off in his training. How did you open the secret door? Xia suddenly thought of this. Didn't I use the golden key to open it? Yu Yang smiled as he replied. His smile made Xia stunned. She immediately blushed and lowered her head to avoid looking at him. She said softly, You smile like a pervert. It's not nice at all. She didn't want to admit that she was attracted by Yu Yang's smile, so she tried to defend herself against what she really meant, purposely saying that Yu Yang's smile was ugly. Actually, Yu Yang's smile had already become a kind of skill, bewitching. It had a kind of charm effect on the opposite sex. For a girl like Xia Yi, who was at odds with him on the surface, but secretly longed for love, she would definitely be more affected by the enchantment. When Yu Yang smiled, her heart was pounding. Even if she said that it was not nice, her heart was beating like a drum. She could not help but lower her eyes and peek a few times. She also could not explain why she was at odds with him. Actually, everything that happened previously was just a small misunderstanding. Moreover, she knew that he treated her very well and only liked to tease her. Yet, for the sake of her daughter, she always hoped that he would treat her better. "Don't bully me like this. I thought you didn't have a golden key." Xia Yi recalled that only Lord Mo Long had the gold key, and he was still holding it in his hand when he entered. No matter how fast his hands were, it was impossible for him to steal it. Just now, he made her turn around and open the secret door. What method did he use? Duplicate a golden key? That was the only possibility. But how to replicate it? Could the golden key be duplicated? I made a fake one. The secret door isn't human. It can't tell the difference between real and fake. I fooled it. Yu Yang laughed proudly. I knew you were a big liar. Xia Yi purposely snorted, but in her heart, she was a little happy. Although this guy was lecherous, his abilities were admirable. Is that a compliment? Thank you. Yu Yang didn't care at all. Seeing his proud expression, Xia Yi really wanted to pounce on him and bite him ruthlessly. Otherwise, the hatred in her heart wouldn't be appeased. At the end of the stone tunnel, they arrived at a huge cavern. There were countless passageways inside, and he didn't know which one to take at all. If Xia Yi was the only one who came in, she would be at a loss when she saw this maze-like cave. But it was different now. She looked at Yu Yang confidently. She couldn't do it, but she knew he could. Such a small maze would definitely not be a problem for him. He had even passed through the Five Elements Palace and the Death Arena. Such a small maze was child's play. As expected, Yu Yang easily found the correct tunnel that Lord Mo Long had taken. He summoned the quintet golden puppet mice. Once the 5 mechanical mice came out, they immediately searched for Lord Mo Long's remaining scent. Even if Lord Mo Long had used a special method to conceal it and released a few small animals to confuse the enemies, all these methods were ineffective against the quintet golden puppet mice. Their main ability to detect enemies was to sense energy. As long as Lord Mo Long left a trace of abnormal energy, he would not be able to escape the quintet golden puppet mice's search. After successfully exiting the labyrinth cave, they passed through a huge mountain wall in a zigzag manner. He felt like he was traversing through several mountains, and the battle was unpredictable. Finally, when the tunnel gradually flattened and became huge, Yu Yang and Xia Yi saw light. In front of them, there was an extremely small dot of light. That was the exit. Yu Yang and Xia Yi were delighted. Although they could sense darkness, they preferred light. After walking in the cave for a long time, they felt depressed. After all, humans were more used to living on the surface. After carefully walking for a while, Yu Yang and Xia Yi realized that near the exit in front, there was a man-made beehive-like cave. Countless densely packed exits lined up on both sides of the main exit. Yu Yang and Xia Yi snuck into one of the small exits. When they looked out, they were immediately amazed by the outside world. The small exit that they were standing on was actually a place for flying beasts to rest. Below them was a bottomless cliff. In front of them, there were tens of thousands of wyverns dancing in the sky. They would let out cries from time to time, interweaving into a continuous wyvern song. When some wyverns got tired of flying, they would enter the beehive-like exits to rest. There were also some wyverns that would come in with bloody food. In the distance, there was an extremely tall mountain peak. It towered into the clouds. There were also countless wyverns circling around, except that their color, size, level, and strength were all higher than the ones here. This is the legendary Wyvern Valley. Xia Yi's expression changed. She grabbed Yu Yang's arm tightly and said with a trembling voice, "I heard that there's a very scary Wyvern King here, even scarier than the Demon King in the Demon Abyss. If the Wyvern King leaves the Wyvern Valley, the whole Gufone continent will be destroyed. I remember when I was young, my mother told me that the Wyvern King was a very scary existence. Did your mother scare you? Yu Yang did not think that the Wyvern King was scary at all. If the Wyvern King was in Tong Tian Tower, it would be a beast below innate. The ones that were truly powerful were not the wyverns, but the giant dragons. Furthermore, it might be because Xia Yi was mischievous when she was young. Her mother might have used this legend to scare her, causing her to be traumatized. Furthermore, ordinary people did not have a very accurate concept of power. In the eyes of ordinary people, an innate level 1 innate was very powerful. An innate level 5 and above Heavenly Imperial Guardians were also very powerful, and at least an innate level 9 and above Demon King was also very powerful. To ordinary people, there was not much difference between the three because they were all existences that ordinary people could not even imagine. From Yu Yang's perspective, it was completely different. To Yu Yang, an innate level 1 was a weakling that could be killed in an instant. Innate level 5 and above Heavenly Imperial Guardians could also be easily defeated. Innate level 9 and above Demon King could barely be considered match. Xia Yi's mother was almost an ordinary person, and her strength was not high. In other words, she could not differentiate the difference in strength between the Wyvern King and Demon King. She only knew that these two types of people were very scary. If not for the existence of the ancient sealing law, Yu Yang would not have cared at all. What Wyvern King? Wasn't that a tragedy that could be killed in an instant? Wyvern King, not to mention Yu Yang, even the Reaper Mantis had killed quite a number of them. If Yu Yang released the Reaper Mantis, the tens of thousands of wyverns in the canyon would probably be scared out of their wits and flee. No, the Wyvern King is a very scary existence. It was said that it had killed countless people in the Gufeng continent, and almost all the rankers in the Gufeng continent were massacred by the Wyvern King. It was because the Gufeng continent's rankers were almost wiped out that we could not defend against the Demon Abyss Evil Spirit Legion's attack. That was why we were ruled by the Demon Abyss and enslaved by the evil demons. Xia Yi's small hands trembled slightly. Because of the fear in her heart, her small hands seemed a little cold. Don't be afraid. Let's take a look first. Don't worry, I am here. Yu Yang saw that Xia Yi was so scared that her lips were a little pale, and hurriedly comforted her with a gentle voice. Xia Yi felt much better after being comforted by him, but her small hands still grabbed onto his arm, unwilling to let go. Yu Yang discovered that there were a few black dots in a faraway place. In the sky, full of wyverns, they were very unusual. He used his Heaven Eyes divine vision to take a look and was stunned. This was because he saw a strange creature, a creature that did not belong to the Tong Tian Tower, appearing here. After the battle in the Heaven Realm, Elder Nangong had given Yu Yang a book. That book was said to have been written by the great sage Dan Xing during the Prison Emperor's era. In it, there were 3,600 types of commonly seen Heaven Realm creatures and 108 types of special creatures. The few unusual black dots in front of him were one of the 108 types of special creatures. Heaven Realm Draconians. These Heaven Realm Draconians were very similar to humans, but they were much taller. Regardless of gender, they were generally more than 2 meters tall and had retractable dragon wings on their backs. Among them, the males were especially handsome, while the females were generally average-looking or even ugly. They were the complete opposite of the other Heaven Realm creatures, the Heaven Realm Demon Dwellers. The males of the Heaven Realm Demon Dwellers were ugly, while the females were extremely beautiful and enchanting. In battle, the Heaven Realm Draconians were mainly formed by females to surround and kill their enemies. The male Heaven Realm Draconians were all in a dominant position. Every Heaven Realm Draconian had more than 10 females. Other than giving birth and protecting their territory, the male Heaven Realm Draconians did not participate in any battles. In other words, other than fighting for a woman's affections, they did not fight at all. These male Heaven Realm Draconians were regarded as the laziest parasitic males in the entire Heaven Realm and were despised by all the other races. What was strange was that these lazy male Heaven Realm Draconians were actually regarded as the most annoying Heaven Realm life forms together with the male Heaven Realm Demon Dwellers who loved to go on expeditions and plunder other races. There is a saying in the Heaven Realm: there is no scumbag, only scumbag Heaven Realm Draconians. Yu Yang did not understand. Why would the Heaven Realm Draconians who were like parasites be here? And who was it that sealed these parasites in this Wyvern Valley? However, Yu Yang could immediately understand one thing, and that was that the Black Hell King wanted to borrow the power of the Heaven Realm Draconians. To put it more bluntly, the Black Hell King was preparing to release the Heaven Realm Draconians. Although Lord Molong was the Lord of the Demon Abyss, even a blind person could see that the person he was truly working for was the Black Hell King. Moreover, he should be the subordinate of the Black Hell King's subordinate Thunder of the Center, the Thunder Lizard Commander. Lord Molong was not here to search for treasures, but to discuss cooperation with the Heaven Realm Draconians. Yu Yang secretly rejoiced that he had discovered it in time. Otherwise, if these Heaven Realm Draconians escaped from the Wyvern Valley, it would be a huge headache. These are the most terrifying parasites. They were hated by all in the Heaven Realm. They had a terrible reputation and were notorious existences. Chapter 598. Demonic Mirror has been sucking blood from the blood pool for a whole month. Isn't that enough? Although we don't care about the lives of those female slaves, we have only produced 700 female slaves over the past few thousand years. Now that we have sacrificed 300, the demonic mirror's inner world is no longer responding. Our female slaves are going to die. A Heaven Realm Draconian wearing a golden crown complained to Lord Mo Long in front of him with dissatisfaction. Master said that it is very difficult to open the inner world of the demonic mirror. Maybe it will take 49 days. Although Lord Mo Long's strength was far from the other parties, his attitude was neither servile nor overbearing. I asked you to send more people in as sacrifices, but you only send a dozen each time. They can't even compare to a single female slave. There is no sincerity at all. You should bring hundreds or thousands of people in and let them become sacrifices. Another Heaven Realm Draconian wearing a silver crown snorted. No, even if we do this, we will attract the enemy's attention. If we bring too many people in at once the news gets out, the consequences will be unimaginable. You will never be able to imagine how powerful Yu Clan's third young master is. He can defeat a Heaven-ranked ranker and capture a Heaven-ranked level 2 Abyss Manatee. That kind of elite warrior is said to be born only once every few hundred or even thousands of years in the Abyss Manatee clan. They are the guardians of the Sea clan. Now, they are merely slaves of Yu Clan's third young master. It's not that my master looks down on you Heaven Realm Draconians. Even if your entire clan were to join forces, you would not be able to fight against the Yu Clan's third young master. Your only advantage is your numbers. As long as he leaves Tong Tian Tower and goes to Heaven Realm, with your numbers, as long as you cooperate with my master's strategy, you can easily flatten the soaring dragon continent and occupy the entire Tong Tian Tower. These Heaven Realm Draconians were the cannon fodder that Black Hell King found. Black Hell King wanted to use these Heaven Realm Draconians to divert his attention. That cunning Black Hell King was definitely still trying to open the Golden Barrier, enter the Divine Grimoire, and obtain the treasures inside to fight a war of attrition. Black Hell King would never know that the treasure of the Divine Grimoire had already been taken away by the Phoenix Sisters and Chilling Girl Bingyin. Moreover, Black Hell King wanted to contract the Divine Grimoire. It seemed that these parasite-like Heaven Realm Draconians were the cannon fodder that Black Hell King found to distract him. With the strength of the Heaven Realm Draconians, this move was not bad. If he didn't send Xiaoyi back to the Gufeng continent to look for loopholes, then once these Heaven Realm Draconians escaped and wreaked havoc in Tong Tian Tower, he wouldn't have the time to take care of the Black Hell King. He could have hidden away to recuperate and plan. Unfortunately, man proposes, God disposes. Xiaoyi had already discovered this secret. The Black Hell King wanted to release the Heaven Realm Draconians to deal with her. He could only rejoice for no reason. What Yu Clan's third young master, an inferior race's male, is not worth fearing. Only us Heaven Realm Draconians are the most outstanding beings in the world. Our ancestors were at most at heaven rank level 8, and there were countless elders above heaven rank level 5. What does a Miryu clan third young master count for? In the past, under our ancestors, there were ancient dragon pythons, 9-headed demon dragons, and golden crown wyverns that were even stronger than the abyss manatee warriors. Any one of them was stronger than the abyss manatee warriors. The heaven realm draconian, wearing the golden crown, sneered in disdain. Lord Mo Long didn't say anything. He really wanted to say, although your ancestors were glorious, that was in the past, not now. With this sacrificial speed, we won't be able to leave even after a month. Another heaven realm draconian, wearing a silver crown, roared with strong dissatisfaction. We can't stand it for even a day. Freedom. What we need is freedom. Our wings need to fly in a wider sky, not in this damned wyvern valley. Every blade of grass and tree in this place is making me extremely vexed. We need to leave this place immediately. I can't stay here for even a day. If it really doesn't work, then use more people to sacrifice. I don't care how many female slaves die. Those lowly female slaves, dying for our noble men is their lifetime's glory. That's right, we need to speed up the sacrificial ceremony. Another heaven realm draconian, wearing a silver crown, also nodded in agreement. Then everyone should contribute 5 female slaves. The heaven realm draconian, wearing the golden crown, made a decision. Prince Bolin, you guys should endure for a while more. Every female heaven realm draconian has at least the strength of an innate level 5. It would be a pity to sacrifice them in order to increase the speed. At most we can wait for another 19 days. Why not wait? Lord Mo Long advised. Don't compare those lowly and ugly female slaves to us noble and handsome men. They are all lowly female slaves. Dying for us is their fate since they were born. We have already killed 10,000 wyverns and 300 female slaves. Killing another 300 doesn't matter. 19 days isn't a long time, but no one can guarantee that the demonic mirror's inner world will open after 19 days. We need to see the results immediately, understand? We can't keep waiting. Wyvern Valley is a place of shame for us. We can't even stay here for a day. Only the vast and boundless heaven realm truly belongs to us noble heaven realm draconians. Once we conquer the soaring dragon continent and Tong Tian Tower, we will return to heaven realm. A small place like Tong Tian Tower simply can't accommodate us. Our wings need to soar in the wider sky. You lower realm creatures will never understand this. The arrogant heaven realm draconian leader used a condescending posture and attitude to mock and ridicule Lord Mo Long, who was trying to dissuade him. All right, as you wish. Lord Mo Long didn't oppose anymore. Yu Yang felt that the Black Hell King sending this week. Lord Mo Long here had a deep meaning. Normal people definitely couldn't stand the arrogance of the heaven realm draconians, but this good-tempered Lord Mo Long was able to complete this task well. Lord Mo Long's attitude was simply to encourage the arrogance of the heaven realm draconians. The more humble he was, the more arrogant the heaven realm draconians would be. Because of this, they wouldn't scare off these heaven realm draconians who were only innate level 8. The more arrogant the heaven realm draconians were, the more they looked down on their enemies, the happier the Black Hell King would be. When the heaven realm draconians make a mess of Tong Tian Tower, who would remember him? The Black Hell King. This was the reason why the Black Hell King released the heaven realm draconians. Fortunately, when Yang came to find Xia Yi, he accidentally found this Wyvern Valley. Otherwise, it would really be a headache. Come to think of it, if there weren't any stronger heaven realm draconians in the Wyvern Valley, then Yu Yang could be sure of one thing, and that was that these heaven realm draconians had already fallen and were no longer a threat. According to the records, the lowest ranked heaven realm draconians had the strength of heaven rank. They were extremely strong. After being sealed in this Wyvern Valley for thousands of years, the surviving heaven realm draconians had actually become dregs. The strongest was only an innate level 8, and the weakest was actually an innate level 6. This made Yu Yang very surprised. The only thing that didn't change was the arrogant nature of the Heaven Realm Draconians. Just like the historical records, they were extremely annoying. At this moment, a few Heaven Realm Draconians and Lord Mo Long had already flown to the opposite sky. Yu Yang reckoned that they were speeding up their sacrifice. He carefully avoided the sight of the wyverns and brought Xia Yi through a dozen teleportation before finally reaching the bottom of the valley. At the bottom of the valley, it was extremely dirty and filled with the smell of blood. Snakes, insects, rats, and ants were crawling all over the place. Among the weeds, thousands of wyverns' corpses were randomly thrown at the bottom of the valley. Some of them were already highly decomposed. Some of them had blood stains that had yet to dry, as if they had just been killed. Xia Yi could not stop vomiting because she saw an extremely disgusting and infuriating scene. Beside the wyverns' corpses, there were also naked female corpses. Among these female corpses, there were white-haired old women, little girls that were only a few years old, but most of them were middle-aged women. Their deaths all showed the same sign, which was a large amount of blood loss. Their throats were slit, their hearts were dug out, and they died after losing every last drop of blood in their bodies. What made Xia Yi unable to control her anger the most was that on these female corpses, including the little girls that were only a few years old, they had all been humiliated inhumanely before they died. Their breasts were cut off, their lower bodies were also viciously humiliated. There were even some that were pierced through by wooden stakes. The way these females died was too horrible to look at. Kill them. Those fellows are all trash. They do not deserve to live in this world. Xia Yi tightly held onto Yu Yang's arm as hot tears dripped onto Yu Yang's angry fist. At the peak of the Wyvern Valley, there was a huge altar. On top of it, there was a newly built blood pool. In the blood pool, there was a magic mirror that was slowly absorbing the energy of the blood. This magic mirror was a holy ranked treasure, and it emitted an extremely evil aura. Nearly 100 wyverns that had been killed let out mournful cries. As they struggled, they spat out large amounts of blood from their throats, splashing onto the blood-sucking magic mirror. One by one, wyverns were killed, and their corpses were thrown into the valley. The wyverns that were lucky enough to survive fled in fear, but none of them could fly out of the Wyvern Valley sky. They could only circle around for a while before returning to their nests and waiting for the next wave of sacrifices to arrive. Because there were tens of thousands of wyverns, half of them should have survived. Half survived. This was the wyvern's fate. The fate of the female Heaven Realm Draconians was 10 times more tragic than the domesticated wyverns, especially when Prince Boluan decided to speed up the start of the sacrifices. All the female Heaven Realm Draconians looked at Queen Chi Gu in panic. She gave birth to Prince Boluan and was the only surviving queen among the previous generation of concubines. Although her position was not high, she was the only female in the tribe who had the qualifications to speak to Prince Boluan. Your Majesty, we have already sacrificed more than 300 sisters. Almost all of the old and middle-aged have become sacrifices. Speeding up the sacrifices is a good thing, but if we lose more of our sisters, we might not be able to hunt successfully. Your Majesty, please reconsider. Fellow kings, please also reconsider. If the number of female slaves serving you decreases, you will not be able to be as perfect as before. Queen Shigu was the mother of Prince Boluan and more than 10 Heaven Realm Draconian princes. She was the only woman who had given birth to more than 10 male Heaven Realm Draconians. If it was not like this, then she, who was already old and had no man to satisfy, would have already become a sacrifice. Queen Shigu knelt on the ground and expressed her allegiance to her sons. She used the most respectful voice to speak, hoping to change the minds of her sons and slow down the speed of the sacrifices. She wanted to use the lies of outsiders to replace her own people. All the female Heaven Realm Draconians knelt on the ground and used all 4 limbs to pray. Although their numbers were far above the male Heaven Realm Draconians, and the individual female Heaven Realm Draconians were not inferior to the males. In this place, females were even worse than female slaves. Everything was for the males. Males could decide the life and death of females at will, even if they were their sisters or even their mother. In response to her begging, Prince Bolun, who was wearing a golden crown, kicked Queen Shigu, causing her to spit out a mouthful of blood. Before Queen Shigu could even get up, he stepped on her chest again. Then, with a disdainful attitude, he said, "Slut, are you talking to me? Do you know who is the strongest person in Wyvern Valley? It's me, the one who defeated my powerful father to become the new king. It has already been a year, and you still haven't gotten used to your new role, you slut? Do you still think that you are my mother? Without my father's protection, you are just a female slave that I play with, a slut that I loathed for many years. My father always saw you as his exclusive property and would let me touch him even if he didn't want to. Now that he is dead, what have you, the slut that rejected me before, become? You have become a slut that I play with and humiliate every day. Do you think that your father can protect you forever? You're really too naive. You think you have the right to speak in front of me? What a joke, you lowly whore. I'm keeping you alive because I want to humiliate you for a longer time. Not because you're my mother, not because you're the queen. Letting you continue to be the queen is an insult to my father. I want everyone to see my power. The once strongest Wyvern King has already died in my hands. His concubines and queen have already become my spoils of war. Do you understand? I am a new Wyvern King who decides everything." Well said. I also loathe this slut. Before my father died, this slut also refused to sleep with me many times. Slut, looks like we have not humiliated her enough. A few men wearing silver crowns went up to Queen Shigu, who was vomiting blood, and kicked her violently. All of them were her sons. After joining hands to overthrow the previous Wyvern King's rule, they became the new rulers. When the female Heaven Realm Draconians saw this, they started sobbing. There was a commotion in the tribe. Some of them wanted to plead for the queen, but they were beaten up by the other 30 to 40 Heaven Realm Draconians. Lord Amo Long seemed to be born blind. It was as if he could not see anything. His eyes indifferently looked at everything that was happening in front of him. As for the mercenaries who had accompanied him to search for treasures, they had already become blood sacrifices. Only the 2 assistants of Lord Amo Long were still alive. They looked at this scene with great difficulty, not even daring to breathe loudly. Quietly, Yu Yang and Xia Yi had finally snuck 100 meters away. Although Yu Yang used his aura to cleverly conceal Xia Yi's energy undulations, the main reason why he wanted to hide from the enemy was because of the crying on the altar and the chaos among the Heaven Realm Draconians. Otherwise, Yu Yang and Xia Yi would not have been able to sneak so close. Xia Yi secretly pulled on Yu Yang's arm a few times, indicating that he should not care about her and kill all the Heaven Realm Draconians. However, Yu Yang did not do that, because only now did he discover the true secret of Xia Yi's bloodline. Chapter 599. Yu Yang understood Xia Yi's anger and wanted to kill her, but he stopped her temporarily, because he needed to understand more. Whether it was the demonic mirror's inner world, the Heaven Realm Draconian's sacrificial secrets, or Xia Yi's bloodline, Yu Yang needed some time to think. If this was the Black Hell King's plot, once he acted rashly, things would only backfire. Yu Yang felt the same way as Xia Yi towards those scummy male Heaven Realm Draconians. They were extremely disgusted and even looked down on them. These men were practically parasites in the world. If these Heaven Realm Draconians, who were even more disgusting than maggots, escaped, it would definitely be a disaster for Tong Tian Tower and Soaring Dragon Continent. Sure. Yu Yang held Xia Yi's hand lightly, indicating for her to calm down. Xia Yi's anger eased a lot when he held her hand. She struggled slightly. Seeing that she could not struggle anymore, she let Yu Yang hold her hand. She rolled her eyes at Yu Yang and turned her face away, not letting Yu Yang see the blush on her cheeks. Maybe it was the Heaven Realm Draconians abusing women and Yu Yang's gentle and comforting care that formed a strong contrast, making her heart feel warm. Although he often quarreled with her, he would never be like those Heaven Realm Draconians who were worse than beasts. Xia Yi knew that Yu Yang just liked to tease her. Those selfish and heartless heaven realm draconians could not even compare to the mud under his feet. Come out, you, and all of you, come out and sacrifice yourselves. Prince Bolin, who was wearing a golden crown, pointed at the women kneeling on the ground. The women he picked were all older or less beautiful than the women around him, leaving the younger and better-looking ones behind. The female heaven realm draconians who were pointed at turned pale. They had already gone through this death screening many times. All the older and less beautiful women had already become sacrifices. They were already mentally prepared for death. There were also some women who thought that they would be able to escape this calamity, but they didn't expect that because they were in a hurry to speed up the sacrifice, the number of people needed was too great, and they couldn't escape in the end. The women who were called out stood up with pale faces and trembling bodies. They hugged their sisters who were not called out and said goodbye. Before this, they had used the same method to send off their mother's generation. Now, it was finally their turn. The young woman who hadn't been picked yet burst into tears. He hugged his loved ones who were about to become sacrifices tightly, unwilling to let go for a long time. What made Xiai furious was that a few pregnant women with big bellies were pointed out. A few young women volunteered to step forward, but before they could even open their mouths, Prince Boluin sent them flying with a few slaps. Spare their lives. They can contribute more people to the race. If they're allowed to live, there will be more female slaves. Queen Shigu was covered in blood as she crawled in front of Prince Boluin. She tightly hugged his thigh and repeatedly begged. The clan has left Wyvern Valley and suffered heavy losses. The children in their wombs are the best replenishment. Let us replace them. Dozens of young women rushed out and lined up beside Queen Shigu, kneeling and begging. Scram, we don't need burdens. If they are pregnant with female slaves, we don't need them. We also don't have the patience to wait for them to slowly mature for more than 10 years. Outside, we have plenty of women. We can plunder as many beauties as we want. The Lord of the Demon Dragon will also send large amounts of the best beauties of the various clans in Tong Tian Tower for us to play with. I don't care about ugly female slaves like you who can't eat with just a glance. Prince Bo Luin grabbed Queen Shi Ji's hair and slapped her dozens of times, causing her teeth to bleed. It could be a man, your majesty. It can't be all women. Queen Shigu endured the pain and begged Prince Boluin to spare those pregnant women. If it's a man, then he should die even more. I definitely won't let my descendants steal my throne. The Wyvern King will forever belong to me. Do you understand? You sinister slut, what are you trying to hide? You think I don't know? I know your true intentions. You definitely want to do what you did to us in the past. You want to raise the children in those whores' stomachs and let them grow up to kill their father and seize the throne. Lowly slut, I'm telling you, keep dreaming. I will never be fooled. The Wyvern King will forever belong to me. It can only belong to me, the great Bo Luin. Prince Bo Luin angrily knocked Queen Shigu to the ground and kicked her. That's right, we definitely can't repeat the same mistakes. A few Heaven Realm Draconians, wearing silver crowns, suddenly had an expression of realization. Think about how my father and uncle died with their eyes wide open. Think about it. One day in the future, you will also die tragically in the hands of your sons. Let them enjoy everything you have now. Brothers, think about it carefully. Do you still want the children in their wombs? Prince Bo Luin's words caused the other Heaven Realm Draconians who originally had some sympathy for the pregnant women to all support Prince Bo Luin and curse Queen Shi Ji's sinister intentions. Lord Mo Long closed his eyes and pretended to be blind. The two assistants were trembling in fear. Their faces were ashen. At this moment, Xia no longer tried to persuade Yu Yong to kill his way out. This was because she knew that he would definitely make a move. Moreover, he would make a move at the most crucial moment. Xia sneaked a glance at Yu Yong and discovered that his eyes were slightly closed. One of his hands was stretched forward and slowly moving towards the demonic mirror that was 100 meters away. It was as if he was drawing heaven runes. Telekinesis was an ability that many innate rankers could do. However, not many people could do it from 100 meters away. Moreover, The most difficult thing was that Yu Yang was able to telekinesis without anyone noticing. That was even harder to achieve. One must know that there were more than 300 Heaven Realm Draconians who were at least innate level 5 and above. To hide from more than 300 innates and telekinesis from 100 meters away, the difficulty was unimaginable. Xiaoyi did not even dare to breathe loudly. She was afraid that she would disturb Yu Yang. She knew that he was definitely making a move against the demonic mirror. As for why he was doing this, she still couldn't understand it. Was he sealing the demonic mirror so that these Heaven Realm Draconians would never be able to leave? Strip naked. You lowly female slaves, before you die, I will bestow upon you the honor of serving the king. Prince Boluan looked at the 100 or so female slaves that were chosen to be sacrificed. He felt that it would be a waste for them to die like this. Thus, he decided to play with them one last time and make the best use of them. Let's play with this old bitch again. I remember that she always refused to sleep with us. Before she dies, if we don't take this chance to fuck her, we won't have another chance in the future. 2 men wearing silver crowns came over and tore apart Queen Chi-Ji's clothes, mercilessly exposing her old and frail body. Queen Shiga knew that resistance was futile. She painfully closed her eyes, and 2 streams of tears rolled down, mixing with the blood on her face, forming tears of blood. You can't even look at it. Her breasts are already shriveled and drooping. One of the silver-crowned men wantonly played with Queen Chi-Ji's body. I remember that when she was young, she was very big. Father, that old fellow, enjoyed all of it. Damn it. We should have killed Father earlier. That fellow was already useless. We still kept waiting, truly foolish. The other silver-crowned man also began to strip and took out his ugly things, preparing to defile Queen Chi-Ji's mouth. Slut, open your stinky mouth. If you can't satisfy us, then we don't mind turning all of your daughters into sacrifices. On the other side, Prince Bolun ordered the women to come up and serve him while passionately receiving Lord Mo Long. You can choose whichever one you like. They are all lowly female slaves anyways. Lord Mo Long respectfully lowered his head. Thank you very much, Prince Bolun. I am willing to accept your gift, but my body structure is different, so I can't enjoy it. When Prince Bolun heard that Lord Mo Long was actually unable to enjoy the female slaves he gifted, he laughed loudly. Failure. I have to say, you really are a failure. If you can't even enjoy women, what kind of man are you? Too pitiful. No wonder your master urgently needs us noble Heaven Realm Draconians to go out. It turns out that the women of Tong Tian Tower are waiting for us to bring them happiness. Lord Mo Long's expression slightly changed, but he still endured it in the end. A male Heaven Realm Draconian grabbed a little girl that was only a few years old and tore apart her clothes. A woman on the side, who seemed to be her mother, knelt down and begged, Lord, she is still a child and not a sacrifice. Please let me take her place. I will definitely do my best to serve you. Her pleas were answered with a slap on the face. Xia wanted to rush out and kill those damned Heaven Realm Draconians, but she couldn't do that. She was worried that if she acted rashly, it would affect Yu Yang's plan. Yu Yang's tightly closed eyes opened at this moment. He nodded towards Xia Yi tiredly. Success. Success? Xia Yi, who had yet to react, suddenly discovered that the demonic mirror that was sucking blood suddenly flashed with a dazzling blood-red splendor. The inner world of the demonic mirror had actually opened. A strange light shot out from the demonic mirror in the blood pool on the altar, forming a mysterious blood-colored light door. A stone passageway seemed to have appeared in the demonic mirror. Inside, there was a small space. That should be the inner world of the demonic mirror. The various runes on the surface of the demonic mirror flickered continuously like starlight. However, it was slightly different from the starlight in the sky. It presented a strange and evil blood-colored splendor. Seeing that the inner world of the demonic mirror had opened, Prince Boluan and the other male Heaven Realm Draconians were immediately overjoyed. They no longer cared about raping the women and excitedly rushed into the blood-colored light door. Those heaven realm draconian women who were about to die miserably and were about to be defiled had all escaped this calamity. The lucky little girl was hurriedly hugged by her mother. Both mother and daughter burst into tears. Queen Shigu was also casually thrown onto the ground by her two sons. Xia excitedly held onto Yu Yang's hand. She knew that this was done by him. If it wasn't for him, even if the heaven realm draconians sacrificed 100 women, they might not have succeeded. However, she didn't understand why Yu Yang wanted to help those heaven realm draconians. Saving those pitiful women was fine, but why did he want to open the inner world of the demonic mirror? Take a guess. Yu Yang smiled slightly. Xia Yi was happy and angry at the same time. She wanted to grab his arm and bite him. Chapter 600. On the altar, the female heaven realm draconians that had survived the calamity hugged each other. They rejoiced that they were able to escape from death. More than 100 of their sisters had almost become sacrifices. Fortunately, the demonic mirror's inner world had opened. Lord Mo Long's expression was a little flabbergasted. He vigilantly looked around, searching for any suspicious places. With Lord Mo Long's strength, it was impossible for him to discover Yu Yang and Xia Yi, who was holding her breath. Moreover, beside Lord Mo Long, there were still 300 to 400 female heaven realm draconians crying, cheering, and venting their emotions from surviving the calamity. The entire place was in chaos, and everyone was crying. However, this was definitely a feeling of excitement, agitation, and despair that had recovered from the ashes of death. Although they had almost become sacrifices, the opening of the demonic mirror's inner world had completely affected all the women. They thought that their suffering had ended. One by one, they hugged each other and reluctantly sized up the Wyvern Valley. One by one, they orderly walked towards the inner world of the demonic mirror. However, reality was incomparably cruel. After walking in for more than 40 women, the inner world of the demonic mirror had reached its limit and could no longer be entered. If one were to calculate the total number of people, they would discover that the inner world of the demonic mirror was only able to accommodate 100 people. Those women that had already entered the inner world discovered that their sisters behind them could no longer enter. Immediately, they all cried and many of them ran out. They held back their tears as they were assigned by the older women. They arranged for the youngest to enter. For example, a few young children were the first to be sent in. Pop, pop, pop. The few little girls that were sent in were ruthlessly thrown out by Prince Bolin, who was wearing a golden crown. Clearly, little girls were not to his liking. What he wanted was a stronger, younger woman, not a child at this moment. Queen Shigu had already been helped up from the ground. Her face that had just recovered from the despair suddenly changed. She used her fastest speed to push away the pregnant women that were refused to enter the inner world, hinting for them to leave immediately, far away from the altar. However, it was already too late. Prince Bolun, who had already entered the inner world of the demonic mirror, walked out again. He coldly stared at Queen Shigu and the pregnant women. His intention was very clear, and almost all the women understood it. Prince Bolun wanted to leave, but he didn't want to leave behind any future troubles. If the pregnant women's bellies were filled with female slaves, then it would be fine. If there was a male inside, then the Wyvern Valley would continue to reproduce. In the future, there would be more and more males. Moreover, they would definitely grow and seize the throne, just like how Prince Bolun killed his father to seize the throne. Your Majesty, once you leave, you will return to the heaven realm. We are trapped in this Wyvern Valley and will never be able to get out. Please leave us a bit of your bloodline. We are willing to send our best female slaves to serve you. Queen Shigu gritted her teeth and led all the women to kneel down, begging again. They must die. Prince Bolun sneered mercilessly. In his eyes, the pregnant woman must be killed. As for Queen Shigu, she must also be executed. She and the pregnant woman must not be left alive. A Wyvern Valley without males would quickly become extinct. Prince Bolun would definitely not leave behind any male, even if he was a fetus. The demonic mirror could bring them away now, but in the future, it might bring more women in. Prince Bolun would definitely not give them this opportunity. Even if he no longer lived in the Wyvern Valley, he could not let it fall into the hands of others. No, your majesty, please leave us a bit of your bloodline. Queen Shigu rolled around in pain as Prince Bolun mercilessly trampled on her body. Don't be like this. A young woman rushed out and laid on Queen Shiji's body, using her body to block Prince Bolun's crazy trampling. Wretched slut, you dare offend this king? Prince Bolun jumped in fright, thinking that this little sister wanted to attack him. Seeing that it was not the case, his heart calmed down. Immediately, anger rose in his heart. He grabbed his little sister's hair and pressed her forehead against the ground. Women are born to be slaves. A lowly slave like you actually dares to offend me, the Supreme Wyvern King? You are simply courting death. Prince Bolun pulled out the sword from his waist and heavily slashed down. Queen Shigu screamed and hastily clasped her palms together, catching the sword. Even so, the young woman's back was already injured by the sword blood splashing everywhere. Prince Bolun was so angry that his chest heaved up and down. He angrily roared at Queen Shigu, who was blocking him. How dare you, you whore? You actually dare to block me? At this moment, all the female Heaven Realm Draconians were stunned. Although it was Queen Shigu, this was the first time they could remember someone rebelling against a man. Sisters, kill him and seal the demonic mirror. We will live well in the Wyvern Valley. We can have a new king and slowly think of a way to escape. There are other ways. 1,000 years ago, there were sisters who successfully escaped. We must kill Bolun, otherwise we will all die. He is not a good king. The king we need is not him. Queen Shigu was only a level 7 innate and could not fight against the level 8 innate Prince Bolun. However, she hoped that more sisters would stand up and join hands to kill Bolun and seal the demonic mirror. What? All the women were stunned. They had never had the thought of rebelling before in their lives. They could not react in time. All of you died. Prince Bolun exploded with his strongest strength. With a claw, he grabbed Queen Shigu in his hand. Behind him, all the Heaven Realm Draconians rushed out and sent the stunned women flying. With a strong support, Prince Bolun became even more complacent. He grabbed Queen Shigu, who was the first to resist, by her neck and raised her up high. Ha! I have finally seen it clearly. You lowly bitch, you actually had the intention to kill me from the start. I knew that you would not easily submit to me. Queen Shigu painfully coughed out blood. Her voice was intermittent as a trace of helplessness appeared in the depths of her eyes. In the past, I never thought of killing you. You have changed. It is you who wanted to kill all of our clansmen. Power made you change. Kill me, I don't care. Under your rule, death is better than living. You're not fit to be a king. You are just a madman who wants to usurp the throne. You do not know, Cherish. You are destined to lose everything in the future. Prince Bolun was so angry that his face distorted and his eyes turned blood red. He used his sword to draw a bloody wound on Queen Shiji's chest and laughed crazily. You want to die? Not so easy. I want to peel off your skin, dry it, and make it into underwear. I want to eat your flesh and drink your blood every meal. I want to turn you into a slave. You whore, you actually dare to rebel? Who gave you this kind of authority? You want to lead the women to declare war against the men? Do you think these damned female slaves would have the guts to be like you, a bitch? Do you think they would dare to challenge my authority? Hey, they're all born to be sluts, born to be slaves. Men, kill all of the female slaves that are related to this whore. As for the remaining female slaves, if anyone dares to object, kill them all. All of you must remember one thing. I'm the king of Wyvern Valley. I have the authority to deal with you at any time. And all of you are my female slaves. Only the most obedient female slaves can obtain life from me and let me bring them out of Wyvern Valley. Whoever dares to challenge my authority, that whore Shigu will be your example. A few women born to Queen Shigu were dragged out by a few men wearing silver crowns. There were also a few middle-aged women. They were Queen Shiji's younger sisters. Even if these people were the closest sisters, those silver-crowned men did not care about this. In their eyes, These were only female slaves that could be executed at any time. Wawa, a little girl, who was only about 8 or 9 years old, saw that her mother and sister were about to be executed, and she burst into tears. Even if the surrounding women wanted to hide it, they would not be able to do it. She squeezed through the crowd and recklessly rushed out. She hugged Queen Chi-gu, who was covered in blood, and repeatedly called out, Prince Bolin raised his foot high, preparing to trample this little thing into meat paste. Lord Mo Long covered his face with his hands. He was unable to continue watching. Even if he was known as the cruelest, most ruthless, and most ferocious demon abyss lord, he realized that compared to these heaven realm draconians, he was still far from being a demon. Queen Chi-ji's eyes were calm as she silently hugged her daughter and waited for death to descend. To her, death was only a kind of release. It was no longer a source of fear. Rather than living under this kind of rule, it was better to die. Queen Chi-ji's daughters and sisters cried as they threw themselves at her and hugged her tightly, waiting for Prince Bo Luan's execution. All of the female heaven realm draconians knelt down and bid farewell to Queen Chi-gu. Among them, there were many who were extremely regretful. If only they had listened to Queen Chi-ji's command. Of course, there were no ifs in this world. They could only cry and mourn for their hopeless fate. Stop! Xia Yi jumped out. She was not being hot-headed, but had obtained Yu Yang's tacit approval. She was like a heroine who saw injustice. She was extremely indignant. Because of her anger, her tone changed as she angrily shouted, "You scum, stop! I thought that the trash I had seen before were the world's most despicable, shameless, and lowly scum. But I never thought that scum like you don't even deserve to be called scum. You are the world's most disgusting maggots." Prince Bo Luan was startled. He never thought that a stranger would actually appear. Lord Mo Long's eyes widened even more than lanterns. Although he had never seen Xia Yi before, he could immediately guess her identity. The female heaven realm draconians stared blankly at Xia Yi. All of them were baffled. They simply could not understand why a young lady would come to the isolated Wyvern Valley. Moreover, she even dared to jump out to defend against injustice. They had never dared to imagine that she would angrily scold a man like that. A few silver-crowned men laughed lewdly. "Ha, a beauty. Heavens, she really is a legendary human beauty. She is really too beautiful." Xia Yi flew into a rage. "What are you looking at? This lady will dig out your dog eyes." Other than Yu Yang, she would definitely not allow any man to look at her body with an abnormal gaze, let alone these scum who deserve to be killed. Prince Bolin laughed loudly. "She really is a beauty. Moreover, her temper seems to be quite fiery. I have heard that human women have very fiery tempers. But this is even better. It will feel better to conquer her. Little beauty, with your little strength, coming to our Wyvern Valley is simply delivering yourself to us. Haha, what a fresh and lively little cabbage. Brothers, move aside. This king will first have a taste. Then I will bestow it to you guys to play with later. Before that, I will have to trouble you to ask if the sword in my hand agrees." Yu Yang sat on the demonic mirror and yawned. He had been sitting there for a long time. It was only because everyone was shocked by Xia Yi's appearance that they neglected his existence. "Ah." Lord Mo Long looked at Yu Yang and almost fainted on the spot. "Who are you?" Prince Bo Luan was also a little stunned. Why did strangers keep appearing in the Wyvern Valley? "I am her fiancé," Yu Yang answered shamelessly. Xia Yi pouted coquettishly and stamped her feet, but did not deny it. Hearing him stand up for her, not only was she not angry, she was instead secretly happy. On the surface, she naturally pretended to be angry. "Pick 100 female slaves, and I will exchange with you." Prince Bolin could not sense the depth of Yu Yang's strength, so he did not dare to act rashly. "My woman is my precious treasure. Even if you use everything in the world, I will not exchange with you." Yu Yang used the first level of his divine art of picking up girls. Xia Yi's heart was as sweet as honey when she heard it. She shyly lowered her head and did not dare to look at him. She did not refute that she was not his woman. At this moment, Her heart had long since been melted by the words, precious treasure. All the female Heaven Realm Draconians stared dumbfoundedly at Yang. Never in their dreams would they have thought that there would actually be a man who cherished his woman so much. If you don't want exchange, then we will snatch her. Prince Bolin became angry and waved his hand. Brothers, let's go together and snatch her. Don't be impulsive. He is the Yu clan's third young master. Lord Amolong finally could not help but speak. He knelt down in front of Yu Yang and kowtowed. Third young master, my master has a message. If he sees you, please pass on his goodwill. My master is willing to hide in the Heaven Realm forever and never set foot on the soaring dragon continent again. I hope third young master can fulfill his wish. It is better to squash enmity than keep it alive. My master is willing to support all compensation and turn enemies into friends with third young master. I'm sorry, I don't have time to negotiate right now. Yu Yang took out his Hui Jin magic blade and crescent moon blade. Under everyone's astonished gaze, he first stabbed the Hui Jin magic blade deep into the demonic mirror. Then he raised the crescent moon blade in his left hand and casually swung it. First slash, earth-splitting. The silver-crowned man who had just pounced in front of Xia Yi and was about to take her hostage was irresistibly cut into two halves by the sword chi. Yu Yang's perfect control of his strength allowed the sword chi to disappear just as it reached the tip of Xia Yi's nose, killing an enemy, but did not harm Xia Yi in the slightest. Even if the Black Hell King came personally and saw Yu Yang's skill and Yu Yang's improvement, he would probably feel a chill in his heart. Countless sky fire burst out from Yu Yang's body. The entire Wyvern Valley became a valley of sky fire. Yu Yang stamped his feet, and a pillar of raging flames spewed out from the ground like a fountain. It directly sent the silver-crowned man, who was slightly slower, flying into the sky. He screamed in extreme pain as he was burnt to a crisp. Prince Boluan's lips trembled. Just as he was about to say something, he suddenly saw a flaming whip coming down on his face. Even the sword he used to parry was broken by the whip. The whip of agony could cause the most damage in the world. It burned Prince Bo Luan's internal organs, directly burning them out. Yu Yang floated down from the demonic mirror and stepped on Prince Bo Luan's head. In the name of the Heaven Realm Draconian Ancestor, Heavenly Dragon Emperor, I hereby decree, all males in Wyvern Valley shall be sentenced to death. Absolutely unforgivable. Xiai looked at his mighty godlike appearance and became extremely excited. She raised her small fist and shouted, all of you can die, you scum. Lord Mo Long knew that everything was over and immediately fainted. Chapter 601. The Heaven Realm Draconians knew that they were no match for them and fled. If Yu Yang wanted to kill these Heaven Realm Draconians, it would only take him a few seconds or even less than a minute. However, he did not make a move. Instead, he summoned Hui Tai Lang from the Grimoire world and kicked its butt. Chase after them, but don't bite them to death. Drag them back here to bleed, understand? That blood cannot be wasted. Meow. Hui Tai Lang nodded quickly and raised its front paw, mimicking a soldier, and gave a military salute. It spread its wings and chased after a Heaven Realm Draconian at lightning speed. Of course, the Heaven Realm Draconian was unwilling to be captured. With his innate level 7 strength, he immediately turned around to attack. Hui Tai Lang's tail was like a steel whip. With a swing, it broke the man's spine. With a sweep of its claws, it tore the dragon wings on the man's back into pieces. When that person howled miserably, Grey Wolf nonchalantly bit that person's leg and swung it, directly throwing that person into the pool of blood from midair. The man struggled to get up, but the barbarian Cow Shadow Aman stepped him into the blood pool. His head was crushed into a rotten watermelon under her, trampling. Bloody Queen Red yawned in boredom. She thought that there was a strong enemy and ran out excitedly. Who knew that Hui Tai Lang alone could wipe them all out? The Reaper Mantis was different. Seeing the sky full of wyverns and Heaven Realm Draconians, an instinctive desire for dragon blood and dragon crystals aroused her killing intent. She spread her wings and followed closely behind Hui Tai Lang. She specifically attacked the injured Heaven Realm Draconians, or the wyverns that could not escape in time. With great teamwork, once Tai Lang injured them, she would capture them back. If it was a weaker wyvern, she would tear the wyvern's magic crystal in mid-air. Seeing the Reaper Mantis, a terrifying natural enemy, appear in the Wyvern Valley, the whole Wyvern Valley was in panic. Spirit of Heaven Fire did not participate in the attack. She looked at the demonic mirror that was sucking blood. Many times, she had devoured the demonic mirror. "Stay away from me. There's nothing for you." Yu Yang immediately chased her away. Forget about the other treasures. This demonic mirror was something that Yu Yang had painstakingly used to upgrade his Hui Jin magic blade. Spirit of Heaven Fire was a little reluctant, but she did not dare to go against Yu Yang's wishes. She floated a little further away, watching the Hui Jin magic blade slowly devouring the demonic mirror that was still absorbing blood to evolve. Yu Yang had wanted to level up his Hui Jin magic blade for a long time, but merely leveling it up to a holy ranked item was no longer Yu Yang's ultimate goal. Yu Yang's idea was to upgrade the Hui Jin magic blade to a divine weapon, or at least an Earth Divine weapon. Earth Divine weapons were usually in the shape of beasts. If the Hui Jin magic blade wanted to level up and transform into an Earth Divine weapon, it must possess a certain life form. Even if it was a metallic life form, it must possess life. Otherwise, it would be impossible to succeed. Yu Yang killed the 1,000 Goblin King in the Snow World and obtained the Red Demon Pearl. Together with the 2 pearls that the Phoenix Sisters obtained from killing the Dark Golden Spectre and the Golden Golem. They were known as the 3 Great Demon Pearls. Yu Yang was prepared to refine them and fuse them into the Hui Jin magic blade, making it come alive and become an Earth Divine weapon. Of course, there were still many things needed in the process, such as a large amount of blood and a battle puppet with a life form. Only in this way could the Hui Jin magic blade truly become an Earth Divine weapon. The problem was, where would the battle puppet with a life form come from? He did not even have the materials to create another battle angel. Where would he find enough things to upgrade the Hui Jin magic blade? This matter had been put aside until Yu Yang saw the demonic mirror. The demonic mirror was not a life form, but it was similar to a life form. It could absorb blood to evolve. And what was even more terrifying was that this demonic mirror had a certain level of consciousness. After absorbing the resentment of countless sacrifices, it actually formed a special kind of resentment spirit, endlessly demanding for evolution. From a human's point of view, this demonic mirror could also be counted as a living creature, an extremely evil demon. The other condition to refine, it was a large amount of blood. There were hundreds of Heaven Realm Draconians and 10,000 wyverns' blood in the blood pool. Although the demonic mirror had already absorbed more than half of it, Yu Yang reckoned that the amount of blood energy needed to kill another 10 Heaven Realm Draconians would be about the same. The Hui Jin magic blade gradually fused with the demonic mirror. Yu Yang immediately added the 3 demon orbs into it. The original blazing flame core and demon dragon crystal had grown after absorbing for so long. Although they could not be compared to the 3 demon orbs, they still had a certain amount of power. At this time, the demonic mirror, the 3 demon orbs, the blazing flame core, and the demon dragon crystal had no choice but to fuse into one under the refinement of Nirvana's flame. They all had their own consciousness and were not willing to fuse with others. However, there was no other way. If they did not comply with Yu Yang's will, they were destined to die forever. On one hand, it was Yu Yang's innate qi guiding them. On the other hand, it was the refinement of Nirvana's flame. The Hui Jin magic blade, the demonic mirror, the 3 demon orbs, and the 2 cores began to slowly fuse together. Even Yu Yang himself did not expect this. One day, an Earth Divine weapon would actually be born in his hands. Even if it was only a holy ranked Earth Divine weapon, even if it was just a temporary fusion that had not reached its limit, it was enough to make Yu Yang proud. Once the Earth Divine weapon appeared, the entire Wyvern Valley was illuminated by the blood-red light it emitted. It was as shocking as the birth of a legendary divine weapon. The sky changed color, lightning danced wildly. The blood-red demonic chi and demonic sense soared to the sky. It was as terrifying as a heaven-devouring demon. Those female heaven realm draconians trembled in fear. They did not dare to raise their heads to look at the earth-divine weapon that was still slowly transforming in Yu Yang's hands. At this moment, they no longer had any doubts. The legendary Heaven Realm Draconian's First Lord, the Heavenly Dragon Emperor, was a godlike existence. Otherwise, why would the Heaven Realm Draconian's First Lord worship him as their lord? The young man in front of them had unfathomable strength. He knew the history of the Heaven Realm Draconians and had a divine weapon in his hands. Even if he was not the reincarnation of the Heavenly Dragon Emperor, he could be a descendant of the Heavenly Dragon Emperor. Most importantly, when this young man raised the divine weapon, the Tong Tian beast on his wrist emitted a draconic aura. Although everyone had only heard of it in legends, when they saw the Tong Tian beast that could transform into anything, they knew that he was the descendant of the Heavenly Dragon Emperor. This was because only the Heavenly Dragon Emperor could command the Tong Tian dragon, and the Tong Tian beast was the infant of the Tong Tian dragon. When the Tong Tian beast appeared, all the Heaven Realm Draconians felt an unparalleled draconic aura pressing down on them, causing their souls to tremble. Resonating with it, the young man who used dragon blood to create a divine weapon. If they still couldn't confirm that he was the Heavenly Dragon Emperor, then the owner of the Tong Tian dragon was definitely the Heavenly Dragon Emperor. At this point, no Heaven Realm Draconians had any doubts. First Lord Saint Emperor. All the female Heaven Realm Draconians knelt down. They didn't even dare to breathe too loudly. All of them prostrated themselves on the ground and cowed out. "I'm not free right now. Move aside." The golden beast on Yu Yang's wrist turned into a divine dragon and circled around his arm. It raised its head to show off to the Hui Jin magic blade that was still evolving. It seemed to be saying that even if the Hui Jin magic blade became an earth divine weapon, it still couldn't compare to itself. Of course, for it to show off like this, it also proved that it regarded this competitor seriously. The newly evolved Earth Divine weapon Hui Jin Magic Blade was indeed very powerful. This was a brand new magic blade. In other words, this was a new metal beast. It was both a weapon and a magic beast, a monster with a sinister appearance that had never appeared in Tong Tian Tower before. This was the dragon beast that Yu Yang had seen before he was transported to this world. Its horns were tall and pointed towards the sky. Its fangs were so sharp that they seemed to be ready to devour people. It was the size of a lion, and its hair was shaped like needles. At the same time, it had a tail full of barbs. The blood-sucking gems embedded in the demonic mirror became its eyes, and the three demon orbs became its brain's magic crystal. It kept spinning, never stopping. The flame heart and the demon dragon's heart fused into one, becoming its heart. Although the two sides of its body looked like a lion, it was obvious that it was formed by the demonic mirror's fragments. It shone with an evil red light, and its tail was forever burning with demon flame and demon flame. The original inner world became its stomach. If it attacked and devoured, it could devour at least 100 people. As it evolved, the inner world space would expand and become an insatiable Taoyu's stomach. Actually, what Yang was interested in was this inner world. The saint-ranked demonic mirror was secondary. With this inner world that sucked blood and energy, once Yang used it, it would become the enemy's ultimate nightmare. Not only would they die, even their souls would be trapped in it forever. Yang wanted to wait until he was stronger and fuse the demon subduing pagoda with him. Then, not to mention normal heaven rankers, even Song Yin, Yin Zong, and Yin Zun would be trapped in it forever. Of course, Yu Yang's target was the higher Scarlet Emperor, the higher Void, and Jiu Shao of the three great leaders. If he wanted to trap those people, Yu Yang felt that he had to go to the black hole space. There is no need to think about it now. It would only be possible in the future. It has not reached perfection yet. However, I will give you a name. From now on, you will be called Tao Tai Blade. Yu Yang stretched out his hand. The demon beast on the ground that evolved from Hui Jin Magic Blade instantly transformed and tightly wrapped around Yu Yang's arm. Even the gaps between his fingers were tightly connected. It was as natural as skin. It could be said that it had completely become an extension of Yu Yang's arm. It was as if its life had merged with Yu Yang. The head of the Tao Tai blade was the edge, while the mouth, tongue, and teeth were transformed into blades. Yu Yang's grip was on its waist. His forelegs and tail quickly elongated and transformed, fusing with his head, tongue, and teeth, forming an extremely long and heavy Zamadeo that was half serrated and half curved. On the other side, the golden beast impatiently transformed into a heaven-reaching blade. It took the initiative to clash with the Tao Tai blade. A ding sound was heard. Although the sound was not loud, it was enough to shake the soul. Lord Mo Long's two assistants were shaken to the point where they bled from their 7 orifices. Their legs straightened and they fainted. Even Lord Mo Long himself was shaken to the point where his eardrums were broken and he coughed out blood. It was as if he had been hit by Bloody Queen Red's banshee scream. Yu Yang casually waved his hand. The Tao Tai blade slashed forward. A deep cut appeared in the mountain wall that was 1,000 meters away. It was 100 meters long and 10 meters deep. The wyverns that were trying to escape were all cut in half. Their heads were separated from their bodies, and they died on the spot. Even Hui Tai Lang, who was chasing after the male Heaven Realm Draconians, was shocked. On the other side, the heaven-reaching blade did not show any weakness. It automatically spat out a bit of sword chi that penetrated 100 meters deep into the mountain wall. Compared to the shocking cut on the surface, it was actually more lethal. Speaking of which, this was the first time the Golden Beast was so violent. If it was not for the fact that the Tao Tai blade was refined, it would not have displayed its full strength. This is for you. Of course, Yu Yang knew the Golden Beast's thoughts. He rewarded it with an ancient Demon Brothers demon crystal on the spot. It was so happy that it circled around Yu Yang's arm, twisting its little butt. The Tao Tai blade changed back into the shape of a Tao Tai. Yu Yang inserted it into the blood pool. He let it continue to absorb blood energy. It continued to evolve. Xia waited for him to finish and secretly pulled his sleeves. It's fine if you save them, but why are you pretending to be their master? It's not good to pretend to be that heavenly dragon emperor, right? Yu Yang laughed when he heard this. Nonsense. If I don't pretend to be the heavenly dragon emperor, why would they listen to me? Look at how obedient they are now. Whatever I say, they will do. If I don't pretend to be their ancestor lord, how am I going to dig up their ancestral graves? Xia Yi fainted. It's fine if you kill them, but you still want to dig up their ancestral graves? That's very immoral. Why don't you just forget about it? Yu Yang used his index finger to gently lift her chin. If I don't dig up their ancestral graves, how am I going to verify that you have the ancestor dragon race's bloodline? Furthermore, there must be treasures inside. I sensed at the moment I came in. If I don't take the chance to take it away, it will be a waste of time. I have the ancestor dragon race's bloodline. Xia Yi was dumbfounded. Not only her, even Queen Shi Gu and the others who were eavesdropping looked at Xia Yi, flabbergasted. It was only now that they realized that this little girl looked a little familiar. Chapter 602. All of the Heaven Realm Draconians were captured and brought back. All of them were heavily injured as they knelt beside the blood pool, awaiting their execution. Hui Tai Lang's tail swung the true essence fire scythe, cutting off one of the struggling fellow's arms. Those who did not follow Yu Yang's wishes only had one result, and that was to be trampled to death. Including Prince Bo Luan, who was still alive, all of the men were extremely frightened. They realized that their final fate was to become the Tao Tai Blade's blood sacrifice. Previously, they had killed a large number of women as a blood sacrifice to the demonic mirror without any guilt. They only felt that it was a bestial release and carefree. Now that it was their turn to become the sacrifice, they finally understood what pain was. Many of the men were so frightened that they started to cry. Some even urinated on the spot. Bloody Queen Red, who was holding the crescent moon blade, disdainfully spat. All of you should have this kind of awareness. Since you can kill so many of your companions, what's so strange about becoming a sacrifice? All of you cowards, kneel properly. Otherwise, I guarantee that you will all die a more painful death. Barbarian Cow Shadow on Man did not even look at these trash. She only waved her hand and ordered the trembling women behind her to carry out the execution. This was Yu Yang's order. Before he brought Xia Yi to the primogenitor's tomb in the valley, he ordered all the women to personally execute the men led by Prince Bolin. Furthermore, everyone had to participate, including the children. He did not do it himself, but ordered the Heaven Realm Draconians to execute them. His goal was to reject their deep-rooted slave mentality. It could be said that other than Queen Shigu, who had a little bit of resistance, the other Heaven Realm Draconians were completely female slaves. Even if they were killed, they did not have the slightest bit of resistance. It must be said that this was a tragedy. Yu Yang wanted to change them. First, he needed to borrow the name of the Heavenly Dragon Emperor. Second, he needed to change their mentality. Without the name of the Heavenly Dragon Emperor, these women would not listen to him. Once he had the name of the Primogenitor Lord and compared it with the previous events, these women would not have their own opinions. This was the best time to change them. The first to be executed is the main culprit, Bo Luan. As a son, Bo Luan actually killed his father to usurp the throne, tortured and killed his clansmen, committed adultery, committed heresy, deceived his master and destroyed his ancestors, and despised the sage emperor. Master has decreed that his crimes are punishable by death by 1,000 cuts. Bloody Queen Red waved her whip of agony and whipped Bo Luan's battered body out of the crowd, landing in front of Queen Shigu. Bloody Queen Red's expression was extremely serious. Queen Shigu, lead the execution. Your servant will obey the Saint Emperor's decree. Queen Shigu hurriedly led her men to kneel and replied loudly. She did not dare to slight Yu Yang's order. She didn't know that Yu Yang, the Heavenly Dragon Emperor, was actually a fake. Even if Yu Yang said that he wasn't, she wouldn't dare to deny it. After all, only the legendary primogenitor Heavenly Dragon Emperor possessed the Heavenly Dragon. Everything could be fake, but the one and only divine dragon of Tong Tian couldn't be fake. Moreover, if Heavenly Dragon Emperor did not come to Wyvern Valley, who would come to save these pitiful women? Other than Heavenly Dragon Emperor, who would dare to execute a man of noble status? Only he, the only Lord of the Heaven Realm Draconians, had the right and authority to do so. If Yang did not receive the book that Elder Nangong gave him, if he did not know the history of the Heaven Realm Draconians, he would definitely not impersonate Heavenly Dragon Emperor. Now, not only did he impersonate Heavenly Dragon Emperor, he even planned to open the Heaven Realm Draconians primogenitor's tomb from thousands of years ago to understand more secrets, and then take over this slave group formed by the Heaven Realm Draconians. With such obedient women as his hired thugs, the soaring dragon continent would be much safer. Even if the Black Hell King wanted to cause trouble in the dark, it would not be that easy. Moreover, taking them as his subordinates was only the first step of his plan. Later on, he would go to Heaven Realm and take in more female Heaven Realm Draconians. Anyways, with the Heavenly Dragon Emperor's name, there would be an endless supply of free hired thugs. It would be a waste not to take advantage of this. Of course, Yu Yang would not be courteous with these free hired thugs. Moreover, this could be considered as saving them, preventing them from being enslaved by the male Heaven Realm Draconians. Mother, you are my mother. Back then, you were the one who gave birth to me. You were the one who secretly hid U.S. brothers and did not let father see us. You were the one who raised us. Mother, could it be that you have forgotten? Prince Bo Luan did not want to die. He endured the pain and crawled up. He knelt towards Queen Shigu and cried loudly, expressing his repentance. I was wrong. Mother, please forgive me. I was just muddle-headed for a moment. I was trapped in this Wyvern Valley for too long and was anxious to get out. That's why I made such a mistake. Now, I know I was wrong. Mother, you have always been the kindest. Could it be that you can't forgive me once? I remember when we were young, no matter how many mistakes I made, you would always forgive me. You doted on us so much. Am I your son? Mother, could it be that you are really so heartless to kill me? Sigh, if you knew it would be like this, you wouldn't have done it in the first place. Queen Shigu put down the dagger in her hand and used her trembling hands to caress Prince Boluin's face. Back then, I doted on you too much and harmed you instead. I was wrong. Mother, please let me go. Plead to them and beg them to let me go. I can also serve them no matter what. I have a handsome face, a healthy body, and powerful strength. If they can let me live, I am willing to do anything for them. When Prince Boluin saw Yu Yang leave with Xia Yi, he still wanted to seduce Bloody Queen Red and man meow meow. When Hui Tai Lang heard this, he thought that this fellow was too shameless. He actually dared to seduce his master's girls? Killing him would be letting him off too easily. He had to slowly gnaw on him. Ha ha ha, what a joke. I really can't do anything about it. You're about to die, and you're still feeling good about yourself. Compared to Master, you're just like an ugly monster. Besides, what's the point of having a face? Queen Shigu, I order you to peel off that shameless face of yours. Peel it off slowly and personally castrate him. This is the punishment for challenging Master's dignity. In this world, anyone who tries to challenge Master's dignity will receive the greatest punishment. Bloody Queen Red first laughed out loud, then coldly ordered Queen Shigu to carry out the punishment. Bah! Man's attitude was the most disdainful one. Hui Tai Lang decided to personally do it. When Queen Shigu castrated and skinned him, he would also skin him. Otherwise, he would feel unhappy. How could this kind of trash challenge Master's dignity? If he didn't properly deal with this trash, he wouldn't be able to warn the world. Hui Tai Lang had never seen such a shameless scum. Master had so many enemies. There was the Black Hell King, the Scarlet Emperor, Void, and Jiu Shao. No one would dare to have any ideas on a woman. This disgusting fellow, did he really think he had any charm? Prince Boluin cried loudly and hugged Queen Shi's legs again, crying for help. Not to mention Hui Tai Lang's disdain. Even his sisters and clansmen, who originally respected him as the ruler, the Wyvern King, felt disgusted. Wasn't it just death? Was there a need to cry to this extent? Everyone felt as if they had seen through Prince Boluin's true colors. He was simply a trash. How was he a king? A truly supreme and tyrannical king should be like him. With a divine weapon in his hand, he could reverse the situation with a single order and behead an army with a single word. He was the true king, the true master. All of you scram, or else I will kill her. Prince Boluin suddenly flew up and grabbed Queen Shi's arm. He snatched the dagger from her hand and frantically placed the dagger on Queen Shi's neck. Isn't she your mother? Bloody Queen Red acted as if she didn't see it. All you back off. It's useless to say anything now. Back off. You must know that she is now one of your people and has nothing to do with me. If anyone dares to take a step forward, I will immediately take her down with me. Prince Boluin threatened his sisters and clansmen who were prepared to rush forward to save her. He also energetically incited his comrades who were kneeling beside the blood pool. Brothers, we are going to die soon. Don't tell me you're just going to wait for death and let people become blood sacrifices. We still have our youth. Why should we die? No matter how strong they are, there are only a few people. If we join hands and take them as hostages, they won't be able to do anything to us. Quickly come over and help me capture those sluts. With hostages, we will definitely be able to survive. Is that so? Yu Yang had unknowingly appeared behind Prince Boluin. Prince Boluin turned his head and saw Yu Yang, who was smiling brightly like the sun, slowly raising his palm and slapping him. He wanted to dodge, but his body seemed to be bound by an irresistible force, unable to move at all. Yu Yang's slap directly sent his teeth flying. Blood and broken teeth splattered all over the ground. That dagger also fell to the ground. When Prince Boluin wanted to muster the last of his strength to pick up the dagger, a foot stepped on his arm. His hand was directly stepped into broken bones and rotten flesh. This was Yu Yang. Yu Yang laughed. Prince Boluin, do you know why someone as stupid as you could successfully take hostages? The reason was because of my orders, understand? I ordered Sieg to cooperate with you. Otherwise, with your intelligence, your strength, your handsome face, and your imposing body, how could you take hostages under my beast control? I think that after seeing your performance, everyone will understand what is unforgivable and what is releasing the tiger back to the mountain. In short, I don't think I need to say more. Everyone should know what to do. Standing behind Yu Yang, Xia Yi, who was excitedly holding a golden box, also spat angrily at Prince Bolin. Letting such a trashy scum live for one more minute and one more breath was a waste of air. Queen Shiga knelt on the ground. She led her clansmen to kowtow to Yu Yang again and again, then picked up the silver dagger on the ground. She expressionlessly looked at Prince Bolin and castrated him while speaking in a calm tone. If you still treated me as your mother, then I would only kill you and not torture you with 1,000 cuts. Unfortunately, you gave up the last chance that the Heavenly Emperor gave you. Letting a scum like you live in this world is indeed a disaster. No, spare me, I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Spare me. Prince Bolin cried out in pain and repeatedly begged for mercy. But this time, no one paid attention to him. You raped me 15 times. I will cut you back 15 times. A woman walked forward and took Queen Shi Ji's dagger. She cut off 15 small pieces of flesh from Prince Boluin's body. Then, she handed the dagger to another companion and began the torture. All the Heaven Realm Draconians trembled in fear. A few of them could not withstand the shock and fainted on the ground. There were also a few who were more strong-willed and crazily smashed their heads on the ground, forcibly committing suicide. There were even a few who knelt in front of Queen Shigu, hoping that she would personally behead them to atone for their past crimes. Queen Shigu wiped away her tears and raised her sword high. I hope that you will become good people in your next life and never be this kind of disgusting scum again. Even if you become a cow or a horse, a pig or a dog, you will still be better than all of you. Following that, she beheaded them one by one. Grey Wolf was a little dissatisfied and barked a little mockingly. He expressed that everyone should not use him as a dog as a negative example. At the very least, being a watchdog was quite honorable. It's fine if the skin is peeled off, just throw it away. Don't show it to me. Yu Yang did not have that kind of hobby of looking at Prince Boluin's peeled skin. After he saw that the Heaven Realm Draconian women were participating in the execution, he waved his hand and pretended to be serious as he issued the second Heavenly Dragon Emperor decree. From today onwards, Heaven Realm Draconian women must obey 3 rules. First, Heaven Realm Draconian women must protect their own race from threats. Second, Heaven Realm Draconian women must protect their own lives under the precondition that their race's survival is not threatened. Third, other than this emperor, Heaven Realm Draconian women will never be anyone's slave. Anyone who enslaves a Heaven Realm Draconian woman will be considered to have violated this rule and will be killed without mercy. Chapter 603. Yu Yang's 3 great laws could only be said to be a kind of will at the moment. Unless he had the power of a demigod or the legendary god, his words would not contain the power of the law. As for the power of the law, Yu Yang could only control a small amount. Moreover, it was the power of the law that was unsealed by the card of fate and not his own thoughts. He was still far from reaching that level. Of course, if he continued to train. In the future, Yu Yang would definitely be able to use his thoughts to create the power of the law. It was only a matter of time. Your Highness. After Queen Shigu paid her respects to Yu Yang, she suddenly led the crowd to pay their respects to Xia Yi. The way she addressed Xia Yi made her jump in shock. No, I am not your Highness. Xia Yi waved her hands in panic and looked at Yu Yang with a pleading gaze, hoping that he would explain clearly. She did not want to see a group of innates kneeling on the ground and respectfully calling her your Highness. You are your Highness. In your body flows the blood of the ancestors. In the Heaven Realm Draconians, those who inherited the blood of the ancestors are the noblest kings. Although it has always been males who inherited it, the blood that flows in your Highness body is definitely the blood of the ancestors. Moreover, in your body, the blood of the ancestors is much thicker and purer than that of a man. It is even more orthodox than the Wyvern King from thousands of years ago. Queen Shigu expressed that she would respect Xia Yi as the Saint Princess. When Xia Yi becomes an adult, she would then be the new ruler, the Saint Blood Queen. Xia Yi was about to faint. She was clearly a human girl. How could she be related to the Saint Princess and Saint Blood Queen of the Heaven Realm Draconians? That's right. Yu Yang nodded, confirming Queen Shi Ji's words. When the Heaven Realm destroyed the passage to the Heaven Realm and closed the Heaven Realm gate, we, the Heaven Realm Draconians, had no hope of returning home. The Heaven Realm Draconians split into two groups. One group wanted to unite the humans and create a new home. They were led by the Saintess, who had the blood of the ancestors to marry the human innates. The other group was our ancestors, who decided to open the Heaven Stairway and return to the Heaven Realm. At that time, we had the largest number of people, an entire legion with more than 10,000 people, while the Holy Maiden only brought along 100 personal guards. Queen Shigu explained to Xia Yi, "Your Highness, you are the descendant of the Saintess, and your bloodline is very pure. In our clan, only the legendary Saintess has such pure ancestral blood. But my mother is just an ordinary person. She's not the Holy Virgin at all. Moreover, I don't know any saint lady." Xia Yi was very confused and looked at Yu Yang, hoping that he could explain. "This is an ancient secret." Yu Yang smiled. Actually, if Yu Yang had not excavated the Wyvern Valley's ancestor's tomb and obtained the information from Xia Yi's ancestor's box, he would not have known more secrets about the Heaven Realm Draconians. He went to dig up the tombs because he wanted to find out more about the truth behind the scenes. By impersonating the role of the Heavenly Dragon Emperor, he would be more convincing. Indeed, it was as Yu Yang expected. In the tomb, the old fellows who died in the Wyvern Valley, the previous generations of Wyvern Kings, had indeed faithfully recorded the truth. This way, it made Yu Yang even more convincing. Yu Yang signaled Xia Yi to come over and took the golden box that contained the Wyvern King's ashes and the rune records. Actually, the Heaven Realm Draconians, your ancestors were not a natural race. They were a type of artificial humans or artificial creatures. When the previous Heavenly Dragon Emperor was conquering the Heaven Realm, he had many loyal subordinates. Some of them survived until the end, while others died in the process of conquering. In order to reward his subordinates' loyalty and to affirm his subordinates' contributions, the Heavenly Dragon Emperor used his subordinates' blood to create a few artificial humans as his subordinates' descendants. So it was like that. Many people did not know this truth. Only Queen Shigu had heard of it. Those first-generation Heaven Realm Draconians who did not have parents were very lonely. They did not have the comfort of family. They requested the previous Heavenly Dragon Emperor to create a few more females to be their lifelong companions. Thus, female Heaven Realm Draconians were created. Because the original method of creation was to create males, the female Heaven Realm Draconians that were created later were more similar to males. In other words, they were not beautiful enough. The first-generation Heaven Realm Draconians did not despise these companions. On the contrary, they liked these artificial humans that looked exactly like them. In other words, the first-generation Heaven Realm Draconians, regardless of gender, were very loyal to their love. They were extremely respectful to their companions and would never change until death. The past that Yu Yang was talking about was actually the information he obtained from the Golden Box. It was a rune record that had been passed down since ancient times. It recorded the history of each generation of Heaven Realm Draconians. How did it change after that? Xia Yi asked, puzzled. The first few generations of Heaven Realm Draconians lived rather blissfully. They were also very strong. Even the weakest of them had the strength of Heaven rank. Later on, because their numbers gradually increased, a social system was formed. A ruling king was born, and there was a comparison of outstanding bloodlines, especially the males that were born with the blood bestowed by the previous Heavenly Dragon Emperor. They were the strongest, smarter, and more outstanding. As for the females, their bloodlines gradually thinned out. They became more respectful and deferential towards the males. Gradually, the tradition of men being superior to women was formed. That was how the qualitative change occurred. Actually, the first generation of Heaven Realm Draconians, regardless of gender, were all equal. They loved each other and definitely did not have any thoughts of men being superior to women. The reason why Yang said this was because he wanted to change these women's deep-rooted thoughts of being inferior to women. That's great. We should tell this truth to more female Heaven Realm Draconians. Xia clapped her hands happily. Yes, we will obey the Heavenly Emperor and Her Highness orders. Queen Shigu led everyone to kneel down. Quickly get up. Xia was anxious. Why did these women have to kneel down for no reason? The previous Heavenly Dragon Emperor created the male Heaven Realm Draconians to commemorate his loyal and brave subordinates. He created the female Heaven Realm Draconians to allow their lives to continue. He definitely did not create female slaves for the male Heaven Realm Draconians. Thus, you all need to contribute your strength and correct this mistake. Xia will lead you all and liberate even more female slaves. You all are also lives created by the Heavenly Dragon Emperor and cannot be blasphemed against. Yu Yang used the previous Heavenly Dragon Emperor as a shield to legitimately order these women to do things for him. You want me to lead? Xia almost fainted after hearing this. How would she know how to lead troops to war? Listen to me. You can't go wrong. I'm here. Yu Yang patted her shoulder lightly. All right. Xia also needed a reason to stay by his side. Otherwise, how could a girl stay with him every day? Now that she was working for him, it seemed to be reasonable. She suddenly thought of something. It was related to her own bloodline. What holy maiden bloodline? She didn't even have it. Why did Queen Shigu think that she was? Xia originally wanted to ask when she returned. Yu Yang seemed to have seen through her thoughts and smiled. Actually, you are the daughter of a normal human mother. However, the Holy Maiden of the Heaven Realm Draconians had infused all of her blood energy into your body as a unique inheritance. Only you have it. Your two brothers don't have it. However, they also have a little bit of bloodline inheritance. This is because your parents should be innate descendants who were married to a Heaven Realm Draconian female. Otherwise, the Holy Maiden would not have given you the bloodline inheritance. After thinking for a long time, Xia started to accept this fact. At the same time, she felt a little inferior. Could it be that she didn't look good? So she had the bloodline of the Heaven Realm Draconians. Looking over, although Xia was a girl, she couldn't see any beautiful female Heaven Realm Draconians. It wasn't that these women were ugly. In fact, some of their facial features were not bad. However, when they were put together, it was extremely unsightly. No matter how she looked at them, they didn't look good. Their bodies were a little too big. Even young women were around 2 meters tall. Their muscles were more developed, but they didn't have the curves of a woman. Their skin was not as white and smooth as a human's. It was rough and slightly dark, as if they had been exposed to the sun for a long time. Xia looked at these female Heaven Realm Draconians and sighed. No wonder they felt inferior. Even though her chest was a little small, she still felt inferior. If she really looked like the Heaven Realm Draconians, she probably wouldn't even dare to go out. Can beauties be eaten as food? Strength is the most important. Yu Yang saw that Xia was as inferior as a quail and comforted her. Actually, I quite like eating apples. Xia face turned red. She was so embarrassed that she didn't dare to raise her head. Beauties aren't important? Why are there so many beauties around you? Furthermore, each one was hotter and more enchanting than the other. Each one was more voluptuous than the other. Of course, she didn't dare to refute. She was afraid that Yu Yang would tease her again. If it was only the two of them, she wouldn't mind. However, Bloody Queen Red and Ah Man were both here. Xia really couldn't lose face. She knew that Red and Ah Man were his guardian beasts. But in her eyes, these two were simply women and not beasts. Yu Yang waited for the Tao Tai blade to finish absorbing the blood and ordered Queen Shigu to bring her tribesmen to clean up. Then he tried to contract with the wyverns in the valley. Queen Shigu understood that this new Heavenly Dragon Emperor wanted to bring her tribesmen away. Longing for freedom was the dream of her tribesmen for thousands of years. You can't bring them away with a grimoire. They have a seal on their bodies. Although you have a Tao Tai blade, It can't bring 300 people away. Lord Mo Long suddenly stood up from the ground and bowed towards Yang. If third young master is willing, I am willing to request master to use the holy item space cradle to bring all the heaven realm draconians and wyverns out. As long as third young master and master can reconcile, it will be done. There's no need for that at all. Yu Yang raised the Tao Tai blade that was flickering with a demonic red light and smiled. I am the Heaven Stairway Master. The seal of the Heaven Stairway rankers in the past is nothing to me. Lord Mo Long almost vomited blood. Didn't this brat have too many fake identities? That heavenly dragon emperor hadn't even finished speaking, and he already created another Heaven Stairway Master? You are the master of the Heaven Stairway? Xiai used her finger to poke Yu Yang's back cutely, expressing her doubt. Nonsense. If I'm not the master, then who is? Yu Yang boasted shamelessly. Cough, cough. Third young master, you are already the new prison emperor, the strongest prison emperor in the soaring dragon continent. It seems that you can't be the master of the Heaven Stairway anymore, right? Furthermore, it is said that the master of the Heaven Stairway is a female successor. Lord Mo Long was almost defeated by Yu Yang's shamelessness. My fiancée, Inan, is the first successor of the Heaven Stairway. She listens to everything I say, so why am I not the master of the Heaven Stairway? Furthermore, I have received the inheritance of the previous master of the Heaven Stairway. If I am not the master of the Heaven Stairway, then could it be that the Black Hell King is? Yu Yang said confidently. According to his robber theory, he would become the master of the Heaven Realm sooner or later. Pretend I didn't say anything, third young master. It's easy to kill Mo Long, but it's hard to make Mo Long surrender. Lord Mo Long expressed that he would rather die than surrender. I don't expect you to surrender either. Don't worry, you can become a captive in the battlefield. Since the Abyss Manatees are all captives, I don't care if I capture you. Yu Yang waved his hand, and Hui Tai Lang pounced on Lord Mo Long and beat him up. Since he was a captive, he wouldn't be polite anymore. Elder Ning Hai could even beat him up if he surrendered, let alone a captive. It was inevitable to give him a beating with the killing mace. Chapter 604. Soaring Dragon Continent, the Xia Palace. Queen Shigu of the Heaven Realm Draconians brought over 300 innate rankers to visit the Xia Emperor Jun Wuyu. This shocking news shook the entire Tong Tian Tower. That was more than 300 innates. No power in Tong Tian Tower could compare to them. Even the winged clan of the Guangming continent, the underworld clan of the Dark Continent, and the so-called strongest Easter Goblin tribe could not compare to these Heaven Realm Draconians. As the name suggested, the Heaven Realm Draconians definitely came from the Heaven Realm. Almost everyone guessed that they were allies that Yu Clan's third young master found in the Heaven Realm. Some even thought that Yu Clan's third young master had used his charm to trick them back. Furthermore, the evidence was sufficient. These Heaven Realm Draconians were all women, and they were not very good-looking. Yu Clan's third young master's lethality towards women was acknowledged by the entire Tong Tian Tower. Although different races had different standards of beauty, but in Tong Tian Tower, which man was the most attractive? The women's answer would definitely be Yu Clan's third young master. There was no other way, because being strong was also a kind of charm. Queen Shigu, you don't have to be so courteous. Your Highness please take a seat. Seeing that Queen Shigu did not dare to sit in front of Yu Yang, Jun Wuyu hurriedly gave Elder Yu Hai a look, hinting for him to bring this brat out. Otherwise, if these innates did not sit, the group of old men would have to stand and talk. Queen Chi Ji's clansmen were indeed Yu Yang's female slaves, but they were still innates. Tong Tian Tower respected strength. Even if the women's status was slightly lower, they could not compare to over 300 innates. Over 300 innates were all level 5 and above. In Tong Tian Tower's innate alliance, they would be heavenly imperial guardians. Now, they did not dare to sit in front of Yu Yang. If outsiders saw this, they would definitely misunderstand that these old men were disrespectful towards innates. Elder Yu Hai coughed slightly and waved his single arm behind him, hinting for the juniors behind him to bring Yu Yang away. Yu understood the ways of the world the most. She hurriedly went forward. Xiao San, Shuanger missed you so much. Also, Fourth Mother made a new set of clothes for you. Let's go and try it on. Let's see if it fits. When Xia Yi saw that Yu Yang was brought away by Yu, she was instantly at a loss. She panicked and wanted to leave with him. He was also afraid that others would laugh at him, so he really did not know what to do. How could Jun Wu Yu and the old fox not understand? It was just that it was not convenient for them to speak up. The Empress walked out and bowed to Queen Shigu. She then affectionately held Xia Yi's small hand. Your Highness, do not panic. Third young master will only be leaving for a while. Your Highness, why don't we go to the rear hall to have some tea? I'm not your Highness. Call me Xia Yi. Xia Yi waved her hands shyly, but seeing that everyone insisted on calling her your Highness, she could only acquiesce. Thank you, to Xia Emperor. After Queen Shigu sent off Yang and Xia Yi, she bowed to everyone and sat down. Seeing her sit down, the old men secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Good fellow, Yang really knew how to swindle people. Last time, he had swindled 2 abyss manatees. Now, he was even more awesome. He had swindled a few hundred Heaven Realm Draconians, causing everyone to have a headache trying to help him. Of course, no matter if it was Jun Wu Yu, Elder Yu Hai, or the various clan masters, they all welcomed this kind of harvest. With these few hundred female Heaven Realm Draconians, the soaring dragon continent could be considered safe. Naturally, Jun Wu Yu could not be like Yu Yang, treating these women as slaves. It was already not bad for him to be able to sit on the same level as Queen Shigu. Furthermore, Queen Shigu, an innate level 7 ranker, had taken the initiative to bow to him, expressing her respect for him as Yu Yang's elder. Yu Yang did not care about what Queen Shigu and Jun Wu were talking about. He was not interested in politics at all. Furthermore, it was not his place to care. No matter what trouble it was, as long as Yu Yang decided to do it, Jun Wu Yu, Elder Yu Hai, and the old cunning fox would do their best to help him. This was not the first time. After Yu Yang saw Fourth Mother, he carried the little girl who refused to let go and returned to the little flower garden. Other than Inan and Sickly Beauty, the rest went to train with Ji Zun and Night Empress. Inan stayed behind, mainly because her training method was different from the others. In addition, Yu Yang decided to bring this girl to Heaven Realm to play, to make up for the sweet love that had been delayed due to the continuous battles. Actually, Yu Yang initially wanted to bring Princess Sisai, Shui Wuxia, and City Mistress Fallen Flowers, but Night Empress did not allow it. She felt that the most important thing for these girls was to train and not love. Without Yu Yang by their side, they improved very quickly. Therefore, Night Empress personally picked Princess Sisai and the others up, not to mention the few of them. Even Impatience was brought away by Ji Zun. Impatience was about to break through to Heaven Rank Level 3, so Ji Zun decided to personally guide her sister. After the Death Arena and the Heaven Realm battle, Impatience realized the gap between her and her sister and reflected on her willfulness in the past. Although she could not say the words of apology to Ji Zun, accepting her sister's training was also a way of admitting her mistakes. Sickly Beauty decided to stay behind. She seemed to be learning some knowledge from Fourth Mother, but she was not willing to tell Yu Yang. Perhaps it was because Fourth Mother did not want Yu Yang to know her secret. When Yu Yang was not studying war dolls, Yu would not be alone with him. Especially recently, she had been avoiding him from afar. Even if she saw him, she would act like she was his sister. Yu was not willing to follow Yu Yang to the Heaven Realm. Yu Bing was the opposite. She was most looking forward to training with her brother. Towards Yu's several hints, she asked in puzzlement, "Why can't I go with Sister Inan?" Yu was unable to answer this question. If you go too, you will become the third wheel that your brother mentioned. Before Fatty Hai could finish his sentence, Yi Kong had already sent him flying with a kick. Pighead, don't lead Binger astray. Go and die. You can go, but your brother has to protect 2 people. If you don't go, it will be much easier for him to protect only Inan. Next time, let him bring you. Anyway, He has the three-realm compass. He can go whenever he wants. When your brother becomes stronger, not only can he bring you, he can also bring us. Lu Yi explained, finally dispelling the idea of going with Yu Bing. So that's how it is. I thought that my level was not high enough to go to the heaven realm. Yu Bing was a pure girl. She did not think too much. She only realized that her brother was the closest to her. How would she know that her existence would hinder her brother from being intimate with Anan? She clenched her small fist and nodded energetically. I will definitely work hard to become stronger. I will not be brother's burden. Train, train. Looking at Yu Bing's diligent back view as she ran off to train, Fatty Hai really wanted to cry. She has already surpassed me. Yi Kong gave Fatty Hai a bump. Damn Fatty, if she did not give us some face, she would have already entered the innate realm. Why are you still here? Hurry up and train. You have been stuck at the lesser innate realm for so long. If I were you, I would have killed myself long ago. Are you that stupid? Your progress in this period is practically zero. Fatty Hai was furious. Monkey, you are also a lesser innate. If you have the ability, why don't you break through to the innate realm today? Silence is golden shui, Tan Lang suddenly said. You guys are indeed trash. I am starting to consider if I should break off my friendship with you guys, because it is really embarrassing to have such trash as friends. You. Fatty Hai was so angry that he almost choked to death. However, Shui Tan Lang had already become an innate, so he had the right to laugh at them. Damn Fatty, hurry up and train. Yi Kong was also seething with anger. He knew that Shui Tan Lang was trying to provoke him, but he could not take it anymore. Actually, he and Fatty Hai all had strength that surpassed innate level 1. It was just that the more anxious they were, the more they were stuck at the innate realm. Yeon did not have time to guide them, so their training stopped. Moreover, they were also competitive and hoped to break through their own enlightenment, rather than relying entirely on Yu Yang's guidance. When Yu came to pick up the little girl, Anan was so excited that she jumped up and down. Two People's World. Her and Yu Yang's Two People's World was finally here. Actually, it did not matter to her whether she went to Heaven Realm or not. As long as Yu Yang accompanied her on a romantic date, she could go anywhere. Originally, her date with Yu Yang was to go to the Heaven Stairway to look for the ancestors' footprints. However, Yu Yang was not in a hurry to find the Heaven Stairway or the God's ruins. With the three-realm compass, Yu Yang wanted to go to Heaven Realm to explore it. Thousand Goblin King was dead, and the other clone was in hiding, not moving for a while. Black Hell King was also in hiding, not giving Yu Yang a chance. The Scarlet Emperor escaped to Heaven Realm, and Yu Yang could go to Heaven Realm to scout for information. What was scarier than the Scarlet Emperor was Void and Zhou Shao, who were gradually recovering their strength. Those two fellows were the Heaven Realm great leaders who fought against the Prison Emperor. No matter what, Yu Yang wanted to go to Heaven Realm to have a look. Knowing oneself and knowing one's enemy was the most important thing. Exploring, gaining knowledge, and at the same time picking up girls, was there anything better in this world? Yu Yang wanted to coax Sister Anan for a long time, but he never had the chance. Now, the chance to be alone with Sister Anan had finally arrived. Without Princess Sisai and Shui Wuxia, without sickly beauty and city mistress Fallen Flowers, in a romantic trip to Heaven Realm, he would secretly push Sister Anan down. This was Yu Yang's great wish, and also the logical result of love. Previously, when he went to find Xia Yi, he wasted some time. Fortunately, he had the great reward of saving the Heaven Realm Draconians. I'm so nervous. What clothes should I bring? All right, prepare a few bags. I have to bring some gifts for everyone, some specialties from Heaven Realm. Anan was so excited that she was running around in circles. You don't have to bring a lot of things. Forget it. Do whatever you want. Yu Yang caressed her little face dotingly. The first female confidant he met was Anan, and she was also his first engagement, but the time he spent with her was the least. This time, no matter what, he had to make it up to her and give her the most romantic trip to Heaven Realm, the most romantic journey of love. Yu Yang bent down and kissed Anan lightly. This time, she did not reject him, but lowered her head and ran away shyly. she continued to pack her luggage. Even though Fourth Mother and Yu had already prepared everything for her, she was still worried and checked everything again, afraid that she would miss anything. After everything was prepared, Yu bid farewell to everyone and used the three-realm compass again, returning to Heaven Realm. The destination of the teleportation was the mechanical puppet that he had buried under the statues of the gods in Heaven Realm. What had changed in Heaven Realm compared to the Heaven Realm 6,000 years ago? What was the true face of the mysterious Heaven Realm? On this point, Yu believed that he would be able to get the most comprehensive understanding after he stepped into Heaven Realm. When Yu stepped into Heaven Realm, thinking about the fierce battle that day, he could not help but sigh. Heaven Realm, here I come. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.